Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5:04 p.m. today, November the 12th, 2018. I'd like to call to order the meeting, a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District being held today in the Our Texas room of the Staff Development Center located at Lamar Academy at 1009 North 10th Street here in McAllen. For the record, we have a full board this afternoon, 6 members present, and Mr. Farina is joining us by video conference. So when y'all get a chance, wave at Mr. Farina. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than shown on the agenda unless removed from the consent agenda. Items identified with consent agenda will be acted on at one time. The regular portion of today's meeting will take place at approximately 6 p.m. today. First order of business is to recess to closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following items. A, Human Resource Recommendations for the school year 2018-2019. B, Human Resource Employee Resignations for the school year 2018-2019. C, Assistant Superintendent for District Operations. D, Pending and/or potential litigation. And E, Possible real estate acquisitions. At 5:06 p.m., we are recessing the regular meeting to closed session. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Is Ms. Artis here? Yes, okay, we can start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to reconvene our 5 o'clock regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District. For the record, coming out of closed session, there was no action taken in closed session. I'd like to welcome all the audience members in today's meeting room, as well as those watching over their devices. It is now 6 p.m., and we are reconvened in the regular board meeting open session. I'd also like to welcome our State District Judge, Mr. Keno Vasquez, if you would please stand and say hello. Judge Vasquez will be part of a presentation later on in today's meeting. We have a real important issue. We appreciate his time and his efforts to get here and to present this afternoon. Thank you, Judge, for being with us today. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Saldivar will do our invocation, and our only veteran member of the board, Mr. Alvarado, will be doing the pledge. Trustee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lord God, creator of all, remind us now of your guiding presence. Open our minds to the ideas of opportunities before us and fill our hearts with compassion and generosity for each other. We pray that this day, for the well-being and success of our children, our colleagues, our families, and our community. Open our minds to the task at hand, open our ears to each other, and open our hearts to your will. Bless each of us and grant us wisdom as we work together to make decisions that will affect our children today and in the years to come. Be with us be with us and lead us throughout the day. In your presence name, in this moment of thanksgiving, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. President, before you go on, just want to thank Dr. Gonzalez and all his school staff for the Veterans Day programs that were held today and on Friday. As a veteran, it's very much appreciated. The ones I went to today, there were tons of veterans, parents, grandparents, grandmothers, moms that were there, and it was very well received. And I got a lot of good feedback from them. So just want to thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and all the teachers, all the principals, and everyone else that made those events so special. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and thank you for your service. And to all the veterans, we appreciate you all. Love you all very much. Thank you.
Are there any veterans in the audience today that would like to stand or ask to stand?
To recognize.
Be recognized.
Todd.
Okay. Thank you all, appreciate it.
Mr. President,
Trustee Suarez.
I'd like to make a motion to move up to reorganize the agenda for item D. 2, the approval of the McAllen Independent School District October budget amendment for fiscal year beginning in July 1st, 2008, to be moved up, please.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion to reorganize the agenda this evening by move up item D2. Are there any comments, questions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 7-0. Who will be presenting that item this evening? Item G.
Ms. Richards.
Ms. Richards, that's your item? We should have given you some warning. I'm sorry, I apologize.
The report we have is 11D2.
Yes.
The reorganization was for,
To move it up to this point of the agenda. And I apologize for,
I thought I had heard the October budget amendment was the one that I heard mentioned in the,
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
No, it's D2. It's
The October budget amendment. Yes, ma'am.
11D2.
Page 535.
it's 11D1.
That's the approval of comprehensive annual financial report.
the D2.
D2.
So we're going to start with 11D2, which is the approval of the October budget amendment?
yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez.
You're welcome.
The October budget amendment resulted in budgeted revenues of $233,832,072 and budgeted expenditures amounted to $246,496,874,000. Revisions to the budget include requests from the Career Technology Education Department for supplies, student travel, substitute salaries, and professional extra duty pay in function codes 11, 21, and 36. In addition, the Child Nutrition Program has requested food preparation equipment and the approval of 4 vehicles noted in function 35. Also in function 51, we are requesting approval of $1,740,000. That is broken down in 3 areas. Phase 1 of the Ag Farm for $800,000, $400,000 for the Memorial High School cafeteria renovation, and $540,000 for auditorium seating at Mac High Memorial and Rowe High School. And we are requesting action on this item tonight.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the item. Is there any comments or questions on this item?
Mr. President.
Trustee Esparza.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was part of our committee discussion between Mrs. Richards and Mr. Forina that we had on Friday. And one of the concerns that I had was that function 31, I believe it was, the 1.74 million. I know we desperately need those projects, but one of the current concerns we had, or that I had, was currently the district enrollment is down by approximately, at last count, I believe was almost 800 students. And in discussing that with Mrs. Richards, I think for next year, that's going to be a shortfall in ADA from the state of approximately, was it $4 million?
We are still working on those numbers, but yes, sir.
With the possibility of opening or of closing I know we had talked about closing Bonham for next year, and I know when we closed Novato this year, there was approximately 120 students, was it 120, 140 students that didn't come back for whatever reason. And in doing so, I think that's going to hurt us next year, and the possibility also of a campus, not a district campus, opening up over on the south side. I just fear that in addition to the 800 students we're down already, that number could increase, and that $4 million could increase also as far as decreased revenue for the district. I'd love to have those projects. I know we just passed the TRE, and for this year, there's line items that those funds were set aside for, that we assured the community that that's what we were going to use the money for. I think we should be a little bit more cautious. Another item that's on the agenda tonight is the tax roll for the district. And when we did our budget in June and July, we had budgeted for the tax roll being at a certain amount, and that has come in lower than anticipated also, which means additional decrease, or not additional, but decreased revenues for the district. Is that correct, Mrs.
Yes,
Richards?
sir.
Yeah. With all that being said, funds being where they're at or where they're going for next year, I think we should think twice about transferring those funds, which is about $2 million, for those projects, and perhaps look at next year's TRE funds as far as trying to fund some of these projects. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Esparza. Trustee Suarez.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's no doubt in my mind that some of the concerns that Mr. Esparza has is some that I know I've thought about. The reason why we have the money in reserve is because McAllen and previous boards have been very conservative in how they manage their money, and we're able to be accountable for a lot of the actions, and we're able to function the way we do. There comes a time when we get elected to make decisions, and some of those decisions are tough. And I think it's in service to our kids, our students, that they're in an environment where it's unsafe. For example, the ag farm, where parents are having to struggle day to day just so that their kids can participate. And as a direct result, the numbers in our ag department have decreased. So let's turn this around and look at in a business sense. And if we improve facilities, and if we have a facility that actually encourages people to participate, then perhaps we would see more people coming into our district. Let's look at our auditoriums. I think everyone in this room has visited our auditoriums at any of the three high schools. I've gone to functions at Nicky Rowe High School where they have a sold-out crowd, and anywhere from 25 to 30 people have to stand because the seats are broken and never been replaced. You go to Memorial, same is true. And the same seats that I sat at in 1992 when I was a senior at McAllen are the same ones that were there in 1965. And although it's true that times are changing and we have to be more conservative, we have to be willing to put into our business if you want to get something out of it. No doubt in my mind that times are changing, and there's no doubt in my mind that we have competition. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is, do we compete with surrounding districts? If the money is there, and the board and the administration is recommending that we approve this, we also take into the account that that money will no longer be there in reserves and we can still function. And with that being said, I really ask my colleagues to really consider this and vote for it. In addition, the money that we're asking for in the child nutrition for the additional vehicles and for the improvements at Memorial High School, these are things that are needed. It's not a wish list. This is not something that we want because we want to be better than anybody else. We're just asking, let's spend this money because we want to at least be able to be functional. And it's not that I'm wanting to spend money that we shouldn't spend, it's money that we need to spend. And that's really all I have to say.
Mr. President,
Thank you, trustee Suarez. Floor belongs to trustee Alvarado.
just a quick question. Mr. Trevino. The comment was made that most of these projects were what we said we were going to do with the TRE, correct? The ag farm, the seats, or none of these
No,
are?
that's not what I said. I said the TRE money was already earmarked for this year.
Okay.
Possibly next year.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought, that's what I was trying to clarify, because I was looking for that. Okay, thanks. Thank you, trustee Esparza. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, trustee Alvarado. Trustee Alicea.
I happen to agree with trustee Esparza in that we need to be very conservative. It makes me very nervous that we did pass the TRE and we do have access to all that money now. But like he was saying, in the year to come, we're losing enrollment. We're down a number of students this year. Next year, we're going to be down some more students. So in my mind, we need to be conservative because we won't have the monies to put into a fund balance. Right now, we run so tight that we're able to put additional monies into our fund balance. But when we don't have the students, we don't have the enrollment, we won't be able to put that extra money in there. And so we won't be able to replace it. So I was hoping to see it broken down in different, so that there's different portions of it that we could vote it up or vote it down. I feel like some of these things are kind of a disposable income. I don't have a problem with things like auditorium seatings and things like that, but other things that you don't actually see that aren't going to last 20 years, 30 years, things like that give me pause. So I wish it would have been, because the total is a little bit over $2.6 million that we're talking.
This request is for $1,740,000.
So
And
what?
it's $800,000 for phase one of the ag farm, $400,000 for construction at the Memorial High School cafeteria, and $540,000 for the auditorium seatings at the three traditional high schools. Now, the $400,000, we may want to go into that one a little bit more. That one is a joint funding between the general fund and the Child Nutrition Program Fund. And in order for them to invest $1.4 million to improve, to reinvest that money into the Memorial High School cafeteria, they are not allowed to spend any of their funding on construction. And in order to complete that project, there are some construction needs. And so we're requesting the $400,000 from the general fund to make that happen for a total project of approximately $1.8 million. Again, a $1.4 million coming from the Child Nutrition Program and $400,000 coming from the general fund. So we felt like we were leveraging 1.4 by investing the $400,000 in there.
What page in our packet? I'm looking at page 538.
I don't think it has it broken down.
I think that might be the confusion, because
Right.
I'm looking at 2.6. That's very different than.
That is the total, that is the grand total, Mrs. Aliceda. At the bottom, the 2.6 is, it includes the 1.7, 1,740,000 plus the other items above that.
So then the grand total that would come from the fund balance is 2.6
No, ma'am, 1.4.
because of the, okay.
Right,
okay.
some of these are
The
coming
1.8,
from
I
our
bet.
special population programs, like career and technology. Again, food service has its own fund balance, so does career and technology. We also have in there advanced academics that has their own fund balance. It's a combination, it's the sum of all those. The 2.6 represents the sum of all those.
I see that.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, the ultimate fund balance, what is the state? I know it's 3 months, but can you clarify that? What is that amount?
It's, the district has a policy to maintain 2 months' worth of operating expenditures, and that is, I have it here, it's $38,634,489.
And we're at excessive of how much?
Let me bring this up if I may. Okay, I've got, this is actually going to be part of our comprehensive
Right.
annual report tonight. This is an unaudited report, but we do include it in our financial report. It's the Exhibit J3. And on there, you'll note that we started with a fund balance of 91. The 1.740 is embedded in this 9.6 figure right in there. It's already been assigned. It was assigned on June 30th, 2018, as we close the year. So that amount is embedded in the $9,643,971. If we go further down on that report, we're gonna find that right now our excess, which is what you were asking, is $14,081,023.
Okay, and what's been that excess the last 3, 4, or 5 years? Roughly, I don't know exact figures, but in that
Yes.
same range?
Last year, it was 12 million,
Okay.
I believe, yes, sir. And I don't have the prior years beyond that.
I'm going to ask the question directly, because I just want to make sure, you heard trustee Espasa's concerns, and, I share the same thing, same concern too about, our population going down. However, we had not spent our money in the last couple of years. Do you feel comfortable moving forward with these projects?
Yes, sir, for two reasons. One is that we do have the excess of the 14 million that you see at the bottom. Also, we've already accounted for the reserve of the 38 million for the 2 months' worth of operating expenditures. So we do have some on there. And as I mentioned, the 1,740,000 is embedded in the 9.6, and we did assign that on June 30th of 2018.
Okay. And since not my floor, last comments to Dr. Gonzalez. Dr. Gonzalez, one of the things we talked about is, I know we're losing students, but we're going to have to probably invest, more time or resources to see what we can do to recoup some of those students, because I think they're leaving for wrong information. There's a charter school saying that they promise their kid will go to college. I mean, we do the same things and better. I think our kids, once they get to college, they stay longer than other charter schools. That's the number has been shown to me, and maybe that's what we need to talk about. But we need to frame our story, whether it's IB or AP or whatever it is, athletic programs, fine arts. They're second to none. I think that's where we can make up some of that money if we go out and be more aggressive in community sharing our story. I'm sorry, I went out of line, Mr. Velez, so it's.
Yes, sir.
And excuse me, Mr. Conrado,
Yes.
just to answer your question, last year's excess amount was $11,986,069 versus this year's $14,081,023, which means it increased from last year to this year by $2,094,954.
And what are you projecting for next year?
That one is hard to say. We're trying to maintain it at this point.
Okay.
Yes, sir. For
You-
2018-19.
Are we going to go below 12, 11 million?
I don't see us going below the 11 million.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Because as we speak, we are making plans on working on some of those shortfalls because of ADA.
Okay.
Trustee Saldívar?
Thank you, Mr. President. As we work with revenues, streams coming in, we're also working on expenditures as well. And some of the decisions we've made regarding facilities actually brought us a gain back, because we repurposed certain facilities, like, for example, the portable housing over at Achieve Early College at the campus. We're not spending that cost to either buy those or maintain those or anything. And we moved them into Lincoln, and saved us a cost there because we already had the facility. Is that correct? Would that be a fair assumption to
Yes,
say?
it is. And as we move through this year, we're also looking for those type of efficiencies from the expenditure side of the equation.
Exactly. So as a result, early on, we started to see the advantage. It was about $2 million we actually added to the fund balance this past summer, right after the last fiscal year, and we were approving this year's budget. And that brought us to $14 million, which is, for us, an all-time
Yes,
high.
yes, sir, it is.
Because we've been roughly around the $10,000
About the 10.
million dollars for some time. And then we started moving up. The other is we known that the stadium seats, the seats in the auditorium, we've been talking about these for the last 3 years, that they needed to be replaced. Mac High, they're the original seats when that facility was built. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so we've known we have these issues. In the end of the day, our taxpayers pay good money to get good quality facilities that's been talked about too for the last 3 or 4 years. And here's an opportunity that we've had increased addition to our fund balance unallocated, because this is not allocated at all. And as well as the projects we have ongoing, it's those we may find some benefits, and Mr. Trevino may be able to do those based on the plan that we projected at a different cost. And many times, we actually are getting them done for less money. At the very least, the 10% that we put on every single contract for unanticipated costs, more often than not, that 10% isn't paid out. because Mr. Trevino and his staff go through that and they're finding, you got this part of the building done for a lot less, so we get a credit, so therefore they don't have to use the 10%. And that's been consistent, and that's what's gotten to this point. So to talk about, 1.4 projected out for these facilities so children can use for arts and sciences that we're working on, but also the ag farm, we've been talking about that for, as long as I've been on the board. And here we now have a chance to go to the first phase. Again, asking you the question, based on all the fact that we have an increase in the unencumbered fund balance, projects ongoing that are probably gonna be about 10% below what we projected already, and the plans we have going forward based on the TRE, we know where our expenses are, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is way within our means, no matter what happens in the foreseeable future. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir, that's why we are proposing it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
trustee. I'd like to wrap up discussion on this item just with a few brief comments. Number one, Mr. Esparza, your concerns are all very valid. I'd like to add to your concerns the fact that we're going into a legislative session beginning in January, and it's up to us to keep the pressure on all of those that were recently elected to the legislature, that they keep their promises to adequately fund public school education in the state of Texas. If they don't do that, if they do not fund us adequately or justly, then we could have some major concerns going forward with our budget. To Mr. Suarez's point about working on these items, we've been working on these for a while. We've thought them out completely. We have planned for them adequately. I think we're in a good position to fulfill the part of the plan that puts it on the ground. Business-wise, we've set up to it. To the point of adding to our fund balance, we've crept it up slowly as best we can over the last several years. Trustee Alvarado, you're right, that are they needed? Yes, they're needed. So I agree with all of you. But I think I have to move forward and vote for this item because the district needs it, the district deserves it. Our kids need to have the best possible facilities that we can give to them. If we have to tighten the belt a little bit more down the road, then so be it, we have to do that. So, having said that, if there's no further discussion.
So
or
moved.
It's been moved and seconded already?
I just want to add, I agree, we need all of these projects. I mean, I've visited these sites, and I'm not saying I'm not for them. I'm just being cautious because of listening to, discussions we've had in committee and enrollment decreasing, and that's a big part of our funding, and to the tune of $4 million, just the numbers we're at right now. That school is anticipated to open in the fall of next year, and I know we're going to take another hit, and so I'm just being cautious.
Okay, well,
I wish we could, as Debbie said, we could split up. I mean, I agree with the school, the cafeteria proposal. Hey, let's leverage $1.4 million by having to spending $400,000. That's great, but it's all grouped together there. So I mean, that's just my concern.
I agree, and I didn't mean to put the spotlight on you in any way, shape, or form. The underlying message in my comments were that we need to be as fiscally responsible as we possibly can be, or even more so than we have been up to this point going forward. Having said that, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-2. Thank you, Ms. Richards, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda would be superintendent's report. However, we have a special meeting that's scheduled to start at 6:15. So at 6:26, I would like to recess our regular meeting of the board. We are recessed, and I'd like to open our special meeting of the board. Special meeting of the board is for public comments.
Or you want to read the statement?
Yeah, we're gonna have
Yeah, the statement. Oh, no, that's this.
statement. I know.
It's the comments you have to make too. It's fine. I'm sorry.
The board shall welcome delegations or individuals who wish to meet with the board. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the public comment portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on any matters being considered by the board unless requested by the presiding officer. No presentations shall exceed 5 minutes. However, time limitations shall not preclude the board from requesting specific reports from anyone attending the board meeting and having information desired by the board pertaining to a specific topic under discussion. Delegations of 5 or more persons shall appoint one person to present their views before the board. Should the speaker drift from the stated subject or become disruptive or abusive, he or she shall be given one warning. If a second warning is required, then that speaker shall forfeit the remaining time allotment of their 5 minutes. Tonight, we have 2 speakers that have signed up for public comments. Our first speaker would be Addison Bortnick, a student, and Rebecca Bortnick, her mother. And their topic this evening is student feelings regarding the STAR test. Regular board meeting of the board.
Just a motion to move item 6, superintendent's report after the recognitions, so I'd move it to before, after 7J, G. I'm moving the superintendent's report to after 7J, so we can go right into reports, or to recognition for the kids.
Mr. President, I'd also like to.
Is there a second to? I second that.
Can we amend
Can we amend it?
that motion to? Yeah.
We have some. But we have some.
I see. All right. We will move, okay. Vote on Mr. Alvarado's motion to move up proclamations ahead of superintendent's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 6-0. First recognition this evening, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Mr. President. Tonight we recognize the students who participated in and received medals at the Area Special Olympics Bowling Tournament in McAllen last week. We're very proud of them, and Dr. Ibarra will give us more information on this event, and Mrs. Bridget V. will introduce our outstanding students.
Yes, thank you. This school year, the Area 1 Bowling Special Olympics Tournament was held at Flamingo Bowling McAllen. McAllen had a total of 60 students that participating from elementary, middle school, and high school level. This competition shows the students the sport of bowling, and it also helps students learn good sportsmanship. All competitors receive awards for their participation in the Special Olympics. Ms. V will now introduce the students.
All right, we welcome our first student, Mr. Eli Flores. Eli Flores. Lionel Banda. Marco A. Rodriguez. Rosendo Alvarez. Kayla Fernandez. Haley Sanchez. Lauren Lehman. Autumn Pelshaw. Anthony Espinosa. Isaac Serna. Kaylee Hayes. Daniel Reyes. Ricardo Salazar. Tyler Gomez. I love sir. And our adapted physical education coach from Rowe High School, Mr. Nelson Oliveira. Another coach from Rowe High School, Mr. Brian Garcia. Another student with us, Robbie Blanco. And another one of our coaches, athletic coordinator, assistant athletic coordinator from Rowe High School, Magda Canales. Principal from Rowe High School, Monica Kaufman. Special ed coordinator, Carla Barnett. Special Ed Coordinator Josie Reyes. Principal from McAllen High School, Albert Canales. Special Ed Coordinator Marta Lopez. Director of Special Ed, Mrs. Maribel Elizondo.
Sam's gonna make it. Right? It's item 8B2.
All right, everyone ready? Big smiles, okay? All right, fantastic. All right, ready? Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, one more. Sorry, big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Mr. President, I'd like to reorganize the agenda. Item 8B2, to now take it in order before the next recognition. 8B2.
There's a motion on the floor to reorganize the agenda to move up item 8B2. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded that we reorganize our agenda to bring up item 8B2, which is a report regarding courts in school programs. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of reorganizing the meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Yes.
Mr. President, tonight we've invited Judge Keno Vasquez of the 398th District Court to provide information on Courts in Schools program, and Dr. Ibarra will share more information. This item is for information purposes only. Dr. Ibarra.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Good evening, members of the board. As we continue to expand learning opportunities for our students and support Goal 1 of our strategic plan, Student Achievement, Student Focus, we are pleased to share information about a program titled Courts in Schools. This program exposes students to various law-related careers, and it has been successfully implemented at a neighboring district. This evening, we have with us Judge Keno Vasquez of the 398th District Court to give us an overview of the program. Mr. Vasquez?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. We try to think of ways how to give back to our community. And your community is what? Your student body, your kids. And in my court, I see 17-year-old kids who are in jail. They're seniors in high school. And how do we solve that problem? What do we do? You know, we as the adults, we can complain about them. Instead of complaining, let's be part of the solution. And there is a section in the Code of Criminal Procedure, 42.025, which which is called Courts in School. In order to do this, we have to follow some 3 steps. One is we have to have the approval by the administration, which would be the school board here. It has to have educational value for the kids. We have to take appropriate measures for the safety of the kids. In my court, typically we have about 50 to 60 defendants per day. What I plan on doing, if it's approved, bringing 5 defendants, male and female. They can range from the age of 17 to 60 or 70 years old. And we're only allowed to bring cases in that involve drug or alcohol-related cases. We cannot bring any type of cases that may be aggravated sexual assaults or aggravated assaults or murder cases. We cannot do that. I recently had this program at Southwest High School up in PSG area, and it was a huge success. We had kids from the mock trial teams, from the pre-law society who were there, trying to be exposed to different avenues from, do I want to be a deputy? Do I want to be an attorney? Do I want to be a court reporter? That's a new area that it may interest McAllen ISD. There is a lack of court reporters that we have here in the Valley and statewide. It's a rigorous process to get through that, but when it's very rewarding, emotionally and financially, of course. My court reporter gets mad at me because she makes more money than I do. And she goes, how is that? But it's true, she does. So it's once the board approves it, I will meet with the local principal from your school district. I will have the sheriff's department come in, and then we will evaluate where we're gonna hold the defendants. And some defendants may come in off the street, and usually those are the females that I bring in. And they're not high risk. These are all alcohol and drug-related cases. What do we see in schools? Our kids. Issues, so that's what we want to approach that issue also. But the kids who may want to be those lawyers, that's what we're here for. I'm trying to find a way to give back. No one's ever done it before. The first time it was done 3 weeks ago at PSJ Southwest High School, and then Judge Singletary did it last week at PSJ High. So I used to live here growing up in McAllen, so I want to come back and give to our community. I think it's going to be a positive influence. Parents out there, I mean, to expose your kids to this possibility of what can I be, what are they coming, but seeing it, it's not a Judge Judy where it's a real live court where people will get sentenced to jail. I had an individual, I sent him to 4 years in jail, TDC, and I had one individual, I gave her probation. So they get to see that. And I also like to bring the Female Bar Association. What I've seen, there's a huge interest in our young females. And what better role models than do that? So I have the Bar Association, they're ready, willing, and able to come to McAllen ISD. So once y'all approve it, if y'all do, great. I'll be happy to come in. It probably won't happen to the beginning of next year, because the holidays are coming up, but we can plan on it. I will work with your principal, I think it's Mr. Canales from McAllen. There he is right there. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the way for all of us to give back to our community, which is your student body. So any questions, I'll take them. If not, I'm gone.
Judge, we certainly appreciate you being here this evening, presenting to us on this very important item. It's an administrative action. It's a go. Superintendent's already working on the details, so I'm sure, and I appreciate you coming forward with Trustee Esparza. I know that's where the conversation started. We really appreciate the work on both of y'all's behalves to get us to this point. We would like you to come back and report on your successes as well.
And just in case Mr. Canales or anybody from the board wants to go, I think the second week of December, I'm going to be at Juarez Lincoln High School. And if you actually want to go see it live and what's happening, if you want to take someone from the school district to videotape it, to come back and report, you're more than welcome to come with me. I think that'll be, for Mr. Canales to go with me, I think that'll be great opportunity for him to see how the process works.
Certainly appreciate the opportunity and the offer. Trustee Suarez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Judge Vasquez, just a quick question. Is it limited to just high schools? And the reason why I asked that is because I think middle school would be a great opportunity twofold. For one, you even get kids at a younger age interested in a profession, and two, also acknowledges what happens when you get in trouble. So just a question, have you ever explored or even thought about maybe bringing it to the middle school?
I recently was at Webb County, Judge Oscar Hale, he's a judge out of Laredo, he helped write this law. They go to the local, junior highs,
Oh, they
and
do.
that's where he goes, so it's a possibility, yes. And with time, we can do that, and what I'm hoping is to get some other judges involved with me, because there's no way that I can go countywide, do all the school districts, and so I'm trying to get them to help me out. So that's, hopefully, I'm praying that they're volunteering, and they will.
You're not doing this because your courthouse is going to be under construction, right?
No, no. I'm ready. Well, I mean, I can come here and hold court every single day in McAllen ISD.
Just joking. We'd rent it out to you, I promise you that.
The county would pay, but I wouldn't pay.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Thank you very much. Judge Kennel, thank you. I haven't had an opportunity to visit, but I know Kathy Alvarado from our office, from the Public Defender's Office, joins you in these sessions, and she has nothing but positive things to say about it, so we're looking forward to it.
It was a great experience. The kids, and afterwards, we do testimonials, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Afterwards, the defendants will be able to speak to the student body, what not to do, what the situation was, and it was so impactful for those kids. And I also allowed the kids to do a question and answer for how do you become an attorney? What's the process? So the educational value to your kids is gonna be enormous. You're just gonna love it. And it's real life. It's real life. You can't beat it. And I would be honored to do it for McAllen ISD.
Absolutely. Thank you, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
Anything else?
We're good, Judge, we're good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, next item on this evening's agenda, item 7B, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Hunter Herrera continues to excel in his cross-country career. This year, as a sophomore, he again displayed great determination as he achieved great success. And Ms. V will introduce the coaches and the student. Ms. Paula Gonzalez will highlight some of Hunter's accomplishments.
All right, joining us tonight is Mr. Hunter Herrera, student athlete from McAllen High School. And head coach for McAllen High School, Mr. Louis Cantu. Assistant coach for McAllen High School, Fernando Segovia.
Good evening. Hunter Herrera kicked off the summer by becoming a state champion in the mile and summer track. Hunter had an outstanding cross-country season as a sophomore, placing in the top 5 in 5 different cross-country meets and winning 2 cross-country meets. He was the McHigh top finisher at district by placing 6th and being named first team all-district. Hunter was named first team all-valley by placing 4th place at the meet of champs. He qualified to the regional meet where he missed a trip to the state meet by only 7 seconds. Hunter Herrera was one of 5 sophomores and 1 freshman that ran in the varsity division this year for McHigh. The McHigh boys cross-country team won first place in 4 meets this season, so the future is definitely bright for the McHigh boys cross-country team. The goal is to continue to work extremely hard to qualify to state as a team. Once again, we congratulate and best of luck to Hunter Herrera for McHigh cross-country team.
All right. Big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Hold it for parents. Good. That was good. Thank you.
Item 7C, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This year, it's been a a great year with big accomplishments for Charlotte Beck. As a freshman, she was a first place champion in the 36A cross country meet. Ms. V will introduce the coaches, and our wonderful student here, and Ms. Paula Gonzalez, will highlight some of her accomplishments.
And introducing to you tonight, Miss Charlotte Beck from McAllen High School. Coach from McAllen High School, Miss Sarah Smith. Another coach from McAllen High School, Mr. Juan Lopez. Ruth Garcia, Assistant Athletic Coordinator for McAllen High School. Kevin Brewer, Athletic Coordinator for McAllen High School. And Mr. Albert Canales, Principal of McAllen High School.
As a freshman entering high school, it can be daunting and overwhelming for all student athletes. However, Charlotte took on the challenge and did extremely well. Some of her accomplishments include winning first place at the Mission Invitational Meet. She made the first team All-Valley with her 7th place finish at the Meet of Champions. She ranked 6th freshman in the state of Texas with a time of 17 minutes and 30 seconds. She ranked 14th in the region and missed state by only 1 place. And of course, she placed first in the district champions meet. She will be running November 11th, November 17th at the Nike South Regionals. This year has been one big accomplishment for Charlotte, which can only lead to excitement for the years to come. Once again, we congratulate Charlotte for all her accomplishments so far. Congratulations.
You know, it's fact that the kids get their athletic ability 80% from their mothers. 7D, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Memorial Boys Cross Country team had a great showing at district, regional, and the state cross country meets. They achieved great success and exceeded expectations in all areas. Mrs. V will introduce our honored guests, and Ms. Coach Paula Gonzalez will highlight some of their outstanding accomplishments.
Welcome tonight to Mr. Sebastian Salinas from Memorial High School. Ricky Rodriguez, Memorial High School. Hector Puente, Memorial High School. Juan Zamora, Memorial High School. Evan Williams, Memorial High School. Christian Garza, Memorial High School. Trevor Williams, Memorial High School. Head coach, Mr. Jesse Trejo, Memorial High School. Athletic coordinator, Memorial High School, Mr. Bill Littleton. Principal, Memorial High School, Mr. Pedro Alvarez.
Congratulations to the Memorial Cross Country team who have achieved a number of lofty goals in their 2018 season, both as a team and as individual runners. This team has accomplished many great things. Back in 2016, they were the first boys cross country district championship team in McAllen Memorial School history. They are three-peat district champions from 2016 through 2018 and are the first McAllen ISD boys team to ever advance to state as regional champions since the 1970s. The team would like to thank their families, friends, staff, and members of the community for their continued support. None of this would be possible without all their continued support. Once again, congratulations to the Memorial Cross Country Boys team.
All right, big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Our next item is 7E, recognition of Memorial High School girls cross-country team. Congratulations to the Lady Mustangs cross-country team for an outstanding 2018 season. The girls placed second at the 36A district meet to advance as a team to regionals for the second consecutive year. Mrs. Bridget V. will introduce our honored guests, and Coach Paula will highlight some of their outstanding accomplishments.
Welcome, Alexa Mendoza, Memorial High School. Jocelyn Martinez, Memorial High School. Holly Jenkinson, Memorial High School. Allison Sokoloff, Memorial High School. Myra Stanley, Assistant, Memorial High School. John Stanley, Head Coach, Memorial High School. Bill Littleton, Athletic Coordinator, Memorial High School. Pedro Avares, Principal, Memorial High School.
The girls started slowly during the August Invitational, but found their full stride at the Mission Vets Invite by placing 4th overall. They backed that up with a second-place trophy in the 6A division at the Rio Grande Valley Meet of Champions. At the prestigious McNeil Invite in Round Rock, 5 out of the 7 runners set personal records. Finally, the girls finished second place at the District 36A meet. Senior Dylan Guerra led the way at the district meet with a 9th place finish, earning all-district second-team honors. Freshman Alexa Mendoza finished 12th, and Andrea Sainz finished 13th, earning all-district second-team honors. Freshman Jocelyn Martinez finished 17th, and senior Katie Slusher finished 21st, earning all-district third-team honors. Other team members were Holly Hu Jenkinson, Sophia Salvo, and Allison Sokoloff, stepping in to run as an alternate at the regional meet. Great job, girls, from Coach Stanley. Let's keep the tradition going. A very special thanks to Mr. Castillo, Coach Lilton, Coach Cortez, and Kurt Flugel for coming out to support us. Last but not least, a very special thanks to Coach Lorena Lopez for all her support throughout the years. Congratulations once again.
All right, big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Can you just lift yours a little bit up? And yours a little bit. Excellent. All right, big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Thank you. Congratulations.
Our next item is 7F, recognition of James Nicky Rowe High School girls cross country team. Congratulations to the Mighty Lady Warriors for an outstanding cross country 2018 season. The Lady Warriors overcame injuries to have a winning finish and captured the 36A girls cross country district championship. Mrs. V will introduce our honored guests, and Coach Paula Gonzalez will highlight some of their outstanding accomplishments.
Angela Corona, Rowe High School. Lauren Garcia, Rowe High School. Janie Delgado, Rowe High School. Alexa Guevara, Rowe High School. Marlene Lara, Rowe High School. Olondra Garcia, Rowe High School. Lilani Lessa, Rowe High School. Cindy Guajardo, Assistant Coach, Rowe High School. Lupe Sosa, Head Coach, Rowe High School. Bobby Flores, Athletic Coordinator, Rowe High School. Magda Canales, Assistant Athletic Coordinator, Rowe High School, and Principal of Rowe High School, Ms. Monica Kaufman.
The team improved their individual times and team finishes at every meet they participated in. The team is composed of 2 seniors, 3 juniors, 1 sophomore, and 2 freshmen. On October 11th, the Lady Warriors were crowned the District 36A champions. All district awards went to Angela, who placed 16th. Honorable mention, Monse, who placed 8th. Second team, Janie, who placed 7th, and Lauren, who placed 5th. First team, the Lady Warriors went on to Region 4 cross-country meet in Corpus, and all 7 runners ran their best times of the season. Nicky Rowe High School was the second best girls team in the 6A division from the Rio Grande Valley at the regional meet. The Lady Warriors cross-country runners and their coaches would like to thank their parents for all the sacrifices they have made for their daughters and for the entire program. They would also like to thank the parents and the Warriors administration for their encouragement and continued support. Once again, congratulations to the mighty Lady Warriors cross-country team. Thank you.
All right, very good. Big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
Our next item is 7G, recognition of Memorial High School's girls and boys tennis team. The Mighty Mustang tennis team captured the district championship in the boys division and were also overall team champions. The team was extremely successful in the playoffs and advanced 3 rounds deep. Mrs. V will introduce our honored guest, and Coach Paula Gonzalez will highlight some of their outstanding accomplishments.
Welcome tonight from Memorial High School, Ishan Ramchandani. Arjun Kulwal, Memorial High School. Rajiv Sarup, Memorial High School. Zachary Garza, Memorial High School. Noah Romero, Memorial High School. Agustin Salazar, Memorial High School. Nicholas Rodriguez, Memorial High School. Zaira Martinez, Memorial High School. Aisa Trevino, Memorial High School. Martina Rodriguez, Memorial High School. David Leahy, Memorial High School. Ashlyn Holabar, Memorial High School. Alexia Perez, Memorial High School. Edgar Palomino, Assistant Coach at Memorial High School. Rodora Elizondo, Head Coach at Memorial High School. Coach Littleton, Memorial High School Athletic Coordinator. Pedro Alvarez, Principal at Memorial High School.
The Mustang tennis team is the 2018 Team Tennis by District Champions, Area Champions, and 36A District Champions. They are also the boys team district by district and area champions. The boys team has been the Team Tennis District Champions for 9 straight years. This year is the highest achievement the team has earned, winning by district and area championships. Most of the team knows each other since elementary school. Their parents are neighbors and friends, and this is probably why they play with such great energy. They excel both in academics and in athletics. The coaching staff and administration are extremely proud of all their accomplishments. A special thanks to all parents for their continued support. Once again, congratulations to the Memorial Tennis team.
All right, big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Let's get one more. 1, 2, 3. All right, now hold it for parents.
Item 7H, recognition of James Nicky Rowe High School girls tennis team. 2018 was another successful year for the James Nicky Rowe tennis team. the 36A Girls Tennis District champions. The hard work and dedication is definitely evident by the success they had this season. They displayed on the tennis courts, and we're very proud of them. And not only that, but they did great work in the classroom. Mrs. V will introduce our outstanding student athletes, and Coach Paula Gonzalez will highlight some of their accomplishments.
Our first tennis athlete tonight is Gabriel Alonso, Rowe High School. Ana Mora, Rowe High School. Amaris Cázares, Rowe High School. Emily Carrillo, Rowe High School. Elizabeth Guzman, Rowe High School. Deidra Morales, Rowe High School. Coaching staff, Rowe High School, Miss Becky Garza. Head coach, Brian Garcia, Rowe High School. Bobby Flores, athletic coordinator, Rowe High School. Magda Canales, assistant athletic coordinator, Rowe High School, and principal of Rowe High School, Monica Kaufman.
Today, we recognize our girls' tennis team for having another outstanding year. We first recognize our seniors and team leaders, Elizabeth Guzman, Lily Honrubia, and Valentina Salinas, for their leadership and dedication to the team. The Lady Warriors tennis team finished undefeated in all district matches, finished the season as district girls team tennis champions. These athletes continue to show passion for the game and dedication to the team as they trained and competed at the high level. Their hard work is evident by the success they display on the courts and in the classroom. The coaching staff, along with the Warrior Nation, wishes our seniors the best of luck in their future endeavors. As the year's team tennis season comes to an end, we look forward to next year's season as our Lady Warriors team show great potential. We coaches would like to give a special thank you to all of our parents for their continued support and for allowing us to be a part of their child's life here at Nicky Rowe High School. Once again, we congratulate the girls tennis team from Nicky Rowe High School.
All right. Big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. All right, let me get one more. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Thank you.
One more, two more.
Item 7I, approval of proclamation regarding Parent Involvement Day, November 15, 2018. November 15, 2018 is National Parent Involvement Day. This day provides yearly opportunities for schools and families to honor and highlight the powerful contribution parents and caregivers provide at school and at home to support student success. Ms. Bridget V. will introduce the staff and parents present tonight, and Trustee Conrado Alvarado will then read the proclamation.
Our first parent tonight is from Jackson Elementary and works at Cathy Middle School, Marisol Flores. Welcome. Reina Eniguez, Alvarez Elementary. Rachel Jimenez, Milam Elementary, Morris Middle School. Myra Santana, Memorial High School. Alejandra Treviños, Thigpen Zavala Elementary. Marbella Mares. Diane Menchaca. Dora Rodriguez. Norma Salinas. Leticia Villarreal.
As they're getting ready for the picture, I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, McAllen Independent School District. Whereas it's appropriate to recognize the critical contributions made by parents who foster a love for learning in their children, and by educators who acknowledge the importance of parental involvement and to encourage and support making it an integral part of the school's missions. And whereas beginning at birth, parental involvement in a child's learning It's critical to his or her success, and parents, including other family caregivers, are often their child's first teachers. And whereas research indicates that there's a positive relationship between high student achievement and the high expectations and involvements of parents. And whereas McAllen ISD recognizes the importance of supporting parental participation in our public schools and plans for parents to be meaningful participants in their children's learning. And now, therefore, I, Conrado Alvarado, member, Board of Trustees, McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim November 15, 2018 as National Parent Involvement Day. I call upon all parents, community members to join the dedicated individuals who minister their parental involvement program and work continuously to build the school's parents' capacity for strong parental involvement that is critical to students becoming lifelong learners. The active involvement of parents and community is imperative to the success of all children in our school community. And witness whereof I have set my hand and caused the seal of McAllen Independent School District to be fixed on this 12th day in November 2018, signed by myself and attested by Sam Sandoval, our Secretary of Board of Trustees. So again, I just want to thank all the parents, parent involvement. Recently, the school district has won a lot of awards, a lot of recognitions, and there's no doubt that we have great teachers, great students, but it would not happen without parents, without a grandmother, an aunt, someone at their home that cares and pushes that child and gives the support that we need. So on behalf of McAllen ISD, Dr. Gonzalez and school board, we want to thank every parent for everything you do for our kids' education. Thank you.
Very good. All right, big smiles. 1, 2. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And parents, before you leave, we'd like to call your attention to the screen. We have a short video presentation that we'd like to share with you.
As an educator here at McAllen ISD, I would like to say thank you to all the wonderful parent volunteers that come daily, monthly, to work in libraries and classrooms that service our students.
Hey, I just wanted to thank all of our parent volunteers in McAllen ISD. We really appreciate all that you do for our schools and our community. Thank you.
Thank you for giving of your time. We know your time is precious, and we are so grateful because what you do for our kids means everything. Thank you.
So I want to say thank you to the parent volunteers that help out at the campuses to share love and caring and compassion to the kids in that campus.
And I just want to thank all the parent volunteers for all that you do, all the time and effort you spend at our schools, helping and supporting our kids and our staff. So it's very much appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you to all the parent volunteers. You have such influence, not only to your own children, but you make a difference to all of our children in McAllen ISD.
I'd like to thank you, our parent volunteers, for everything you do for McAllen ISD. The value you bring every day and the hard work that you do with our teachers, our staff, and our kids truly make the difference here at McAllen ISD. And thank you very much for everything you do. Appreciate working with you.
I'd like to thank all the parent volunteers that we have in our district. The service that you provide to our students and to your children is extremely valuable and appreciated by all of us. I know that we could not do what we do without our parent volunteers.
I want to thank all volunteers for McAllen ISD, especially our Booster Club parents and volunteers. We're very thankful for everything that you do. It's greatly appreciated, and I know that our student athletes and coaches also greatly appreciate that.
I'd like to thank all the parent volunteers that I've worked with in my 14 years being in McAllen ISD. I've been an assistant principal, and each person that I have worked with has truly been dedicated for their student success and for the campus success, and wanting to do everything in their power to help me as a principal and to help all the teachers. So I'm very appreciative of the parents and all the hours that they would spend at the campuses and all the hard work that they do. A very special thank you to each one of you.
Muchísimas gracias, padres, para todo su apoyo aquí en Perez Elementary y en todo el McAllen ISD.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all our parent volunteers. We appreciate your hard work and your dedication to McAllen ISD. Parent volunteers play a key role in the success of our organization, and it takes a team effort to make things happen. In McAllen ISD, we have a lot of success because we work as a team and we're a family. So to all the parent volunteers, thank you so much. You are greatly appreciated. Yes, we'll make sure to put that on our YouTube channel as well. It'll be on our Facebook. And once again, how about a round of applause for our parent volunteers for all of their hard work and dedication. We appreciate you all very much. Our next item is 7J, approval of proclamation regarding School Psychology Awareness Week, November 12th through 16th, 2018. During the week of November 12th through 16th, 2018, schools throughout the country will celebrate National School Psychology Awareness Week. Dr. Ibarra will first tell us about the support that school psychologists provide our students. Then Mrs. Bridget V. will introduce our staff tonight, and Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda will read the proclamation.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. The district's licensed specialists in school psychology provide the district with psychological services and provide training to staff who need a better understanding of our students with special needs. These services entail conducting intellectual assessments, conducting achievement assessments, and conducting psychological assessments for students in need of support. In addition, graduate students from the UTPA School Psychology Program offer counseling sessions as part of their practicum course with the Family Treatment Program under the supervision of Dr. Nancy Rasso, a McAllen ISD graduate. The partnership with the UTRGV School Psychology Program will continue this year as well. We thank not only our district school psychologists, but also the UTPA graduate school psychologist intern serving our students. At this time, Ms. V will introduce our licensed specialist in school psychology.
We welcome our first school psychologist, Ana Carla Martinez. Angelica Norega. Victoria Lopez. Dr. Nancy Rasso, UTRGV School Psychology Program. Josie Reyes, Special Ed Coordinator. Carla Barnett, Special Ed Coordinator. Marta Lopez, Special Ed Coordinator. Director of Special Ed, Mrs. Maribel Elizondo.
I'll start now. Proclamation. Whereas all children and youth learn best when they are healthy, supported, and receive an education that enables them to grow academically, socially, and emotionally. And whereas children's mental health is directly linked to their learning and development, and their learning environment provides an optimal place to promote good mental health through connectedness within the school and community. And whereas school psychologists are specially trained to foster and deliver in the school and community a continuum of mental health services and academic supports that lower barriers to teaching and learning. And whereas school psychologists are trained to assess student and school-based barriers to learning as well as individual strengths, utilize database decision-making, implement research-driven prevention and intervention strategies, and evaluate outcomes and improve accountability. And whereas school psychologists help children to thrive by nurturing their individual strengths across both personal and academic endeavors. Now, therefore, I, Debbie Crane Aliceda, member of Board of the Trustees of McAllen ISD, do hereby proclaim the month of November 12th through 16th, the week of November 12th through 16th, 2018, as School Psychology Awareness Week. I call upon all McAllen residents and public schools to recognize the vital role that school psychologists and support staff play in the personal and academic development of our children. A witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 12th day of November 2018. Debbie Cranley said, and attested to by our Board Secretary, Trustee Saldivar.
Big smiles, everyone. All right, big smiles. 1, 2, 3. One more.
Yeah, we're jumping back to the superintendent's report. So we're jumping back.
Next item is number 6, Superintendent's Report.
Yes, sir. Superintendent's report will focus on Strategy 1 branding, Goal 1 student achievement, student focus, and it's regarding our annual Partners in Excellence breakfast. Earlier this month, we held our annual Partners in Excellence breakfast at the McAllen Country Club. My report on the district included a video profile which details some of our major wins and our outstanding programs, and I do want to thank our board for making all of this possible, and also to the staff, our parents, and our entire community. This video is a small example of all the great things going on.
You better have great teachers. You better have a committed staff. You better be ready to rock and roll, because it's not gonna come easy. Today we found out it's official. We got an A. Yeah! Woo! We got an A! Yeah!
Only 13% of school districts in the state have earned an A with the state of Texas. Achievements of this magnitude come about because of the excellence of our teachers. They are fundamental to student success, particularly when our instructional team digs deep to support the teachers with constant data analysis that is incessant in finding that just right way to reach a child. Together, they work relentlessly, driven to ensure that students are continually making gains in learning. It's an attention to detail that is well above the norm. The A designation has attracted the attention of educators around the state, with other districts visiting our classrooms to study our methods for success.
And I want the radio to win, because when y'all win, kids win, and our state wins.
And judging from McAllen ISD's large array of wins in the last year alone, there is a treasure trove for others to analyze in this district of champions. As a district of choice, McAllen ISD provides students with a world-class education built on two frameworks for learning, STEAM Plus and the International Baccalaureate. STEAM Plus delivers the state curriculum, but then goes beyond this standard to infuse STEAM-related learning into the classroom, all while systematically addressing a child's emotional intelligence.
If you're not familiar with Daniel Goleman's work on emotional intelligence, it's as true as the law of gravity. If you want your organization to compete at the highest level, then you have to raise the emotional quotient of the entire organization, from the student body to the superintendent and everybody in between.
International Baccalaureate, an advanced academic program, is offered at our elementary, middle, and high school levels.
I cannot wait to see what the world has holding for us on the other side of those doors.
Since 2003, McAllen ISD students have earned nearly 700 IB diplomas, consistently bringing in the highest success rate in the world at 98%. until we soared above even that standard this past summer to earn a 100% success rate in June. McAllen ISD students compete in chess, robotics, and academic UIL, all from elementary through high school, garnering amazing titles along the way. That includes both the State Robotics Championship and the State Chess Championship.
Achieve Early High School placed first at the state level in Houston.
All while creating an army of little chess and robotics gurus around the district who have been taking the state and the nation by storm. Class number 1 complete. McAllen ISD is known for continually raising the bar. In the spring of 2018, students designed and constructed their own robots for the inaugural Tech Wars competition, and new champions were born.
Nicky Rowe takes the tournament.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A new era has begun for our National Blue Ribbon Achieve Early College High School this year. They now have their own building to call home. Here, students earn college credit and even an associate's degree by the time they graduate high school, saving them time and money. Over its 10-year history, Achieve students have earned nearly 500 associate's degrees through our partnership with South Texas College. The district also offers 5 specialized dual enrollment academies where students can focus on medicine, engineering, computer science, criminal justice, or business administration. The traditional high schools also present opportunities to take advanced courses and earn college credit through dual enrollment programs. These opportunities save McAllen ISD families millions of dollars in tuition each year. All students can graduate with expertise in a specialized area or endorsement. McAllen ISD offers all 5 endorsements recognized by the state. Many students get rigorous and relevant career preparation through the Career Technical Education Program. Here, students can earn professional licenses and certificates in 32 different areas that meet the needs of the labor market. This fall, McAllen ISD launched an apprenticeship program where students will work in a place of business. This is a partnership with both the McAllen Chamber of Commerce and South Texas College. McAllen ISD has forged many partnerships that benefit children. Since its inception, the McAllen Education Foundation has funded more than 360 teaching grants for more than $500,000 and benefit more than 50,000 students. Throughout the year, students earn scholarships all over the nation. In each of the last 3 years, McAllen ISD graduates have qualified for more than $35 million in scholarship monies. Aside from academic UIL, robotics, and chess, our schools have developed specialties that give our students yet another edge. At our 8 dual language campuses, students are taught in English and Spanish equally, making them biliterate, able to speak, read, and write in 2 languages. Students are now able to continue with dual language in middle school and even earn a high school Spanish credit before their freshman year.
We're the service managers here at Conquest Time, Houston.
At our 6 Minitropolis schools, students learn real-life skills relating to leadership, unique career-based learning opportunities, and personal finance. It is established at 6 campuses. And for 4 years, McAllen ISD has used a distinctive program that systematically teaches career awareness in all our elementary schools. This is unique. McAllen ISD is one of the few districts in the state that can say it has a seamless kinder through 12th grade career awareness platform. To take it a step further, our schools are accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, far exceeding the standards of quality followed by other districts. McAllen ISD is a family with a rich heritage rooted in a tradition of high standards, where we honor our past, celebrate our present, and step boldly toward the future. From humble beginnings more than a century ago to a plethora of life-changing, cutting-edge experiences, all guided by expert hands that nurture and lead. In McAllen ISD, students find new worlds to explore and new frontiers to conquer, because here, your child is family.
Thank you. That concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Superintendent. I will say that I was there for the Partners of Excellence breakfast, and I will say that there's a lot of components to our success. Obviously, we saw the parents, we know the teachers and the administrators, but we can't forget about our business partners that contribute year after year, and new contributors every year that make every campus successful. So To everyone out there in the business community, thank you for what you do for our district.
Mr. Vice President, I'd like to make a motion to reorganize the agenda to move item 11A2 for consideration at this time.
There is a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11A2, approval of the 2018-2019 campus performance objective goals.
Under the Texas Education Code, the 31 campuses must set performance goals and establish strategies for meeting those goals to include special populations for state and federal accountability systems. And tonight we have McAllen High School's vertical team, Cathy Middle School from the Memorial vertical team, and Sanchez Elementary from the Rowe vertical team. And they're going to present a 5-minute overview of their campus 2018-2019 campus performance objective goals. And I do want to commend all the campuses for their hard work. So at this point, I will turn it over to Mr. Benford, principal from Dr. Rodney D. Cathy Middle School.
Thank you. I have with me my two trusted assistant principal, Mrs. April Williams and Ms. Connie Vallejo. Give me a round. They work so very hard. We start with our why. Why do we do what we do? Everything that we do, we believe in challenging our students' thinking. We believe in genuine and individual inquiry. The way we challenge our students is by making our schools safe and innovative with passionate and knowledgeable teachers who are caring and passionate, who cater to the needs of all of our students. We also believe that our school prepares students to succeed as citizens, employees, leaders, and scholars. Therefore, we're proud to announce to you we have earned all 7 distinctions for 4 consecutive years, including academic achievement in mathematics, academic achievement in science, academic achievement in English language arts and reading, academic achievement in social studies, top 25% in academic growth, post-secondary readiness, and top 25% in closing the gap. We're very proud of that. Our overall performance, we met standards. 94% is our total. And what that means overall is overall grade is based on performance in 3 different areas or different domains. We look at the first one, it's called student achievement. We met that standard, 91% out of 100. Student achievement shows, if we go back to that slide, it shows how much students know and are able to do at the end of the school year. Second one is student progress, 91% out of 100. Student progress shows how students perform over time and how that growth compares to similar schools such as ours. Closing the gap, 100% out of 100 possibility points. Closing the gap shows how well different student groups within our schools are performing. There are 16 categories, and we mastered all 16. I will turn it over to Mrs. Williams.
All right, I'm going to review our goals in the student achievement. We are going to increase student achievement to a scale score of a 95 from a 94. We're going to increase our daily attendance to a 97. We're going to ensure professional learning community is operating effectively, and then we're going to ensure STEAM Plus framework is fully implemented. The mechanism through which we will reach these goals is through our professional learning communities. And in our professional learning communities, which we call our PLCs, we meet weekly to discuss curriculum, assessment, instruction, and intervention. Through our PLCs, we provide progress monitoring support. We have 4 questions that we go over with our teachers. What do students need to know? How will we know when they have learned it? What will we do when they have learned it? And what will we do when they haven't learned it? This addresses the 4 questions, critical questions that allows our teachers to better understand the needs of students, because our teachers understand one thing, that what is written, what is taught, and what is assessed all has to be aligned. What is written is the TEKS, it's already set in stone. What is assessed, that's already set in stone as well, that's the STAR. It's the variable is how our teachers teach, and that is the taught portion. So this is the area that we focus on in our PLCs, and this is our critical area.
Next, we transition to Goal 2, which is people development. And at Kathy, we believe that in order to develop our teachers, these 4 quadrants must be well balanced. And we begin with relationship with coworkers. And we often hear of emotional intelligence. Well, we talk this language daily with our teachers. However, at Kathy Middle School, it goes way beyond the teacher. We work very hard to develop the student as well. Through our monthly student celebrations, talking about our STEAM and emotional intelligence attributes. Content delivery and planning, as well as knowledge of subject area, work hand in hand together. And we ensure that this is not only balanced, but also maintained throughout the year through our walkthroughs, through our peer-to-peer observations, our district support, which we are very thankful for. Goal number 3 focuses on the facility priorities. We ensure a safe and secure building through our bi-weekly council rounds. We ensure that we're working closely with FMO to rectify these situations, as well as implementing our emergency management procedures plan with fidelity.
Finally, Goal 4, the money. I heard discussions about planning and how money is, but we do align our budget with our CIP, our campus improvement plan. We monitor the academic return on our investment, and our STEAM funds, 70% are allocated to the core subjects and 30% to our clubs and activities. Any questions? You can send me a quick email because we have 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Our next campus presenting, who do we have next, Ms. V?
Ms. Sanchez.
Okay, we have Mr. Rodriguez from Sanchez Elementary coming to present.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any crayons with?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
So good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Gonzalez, and audience members. My name is Cynthia Rodriguez, and I will be presenting the actual campus performance for 2017-2018, the campus performance objectives goals for 2018-2019. Okay, so when we look at a report card, in looking at Sanchez's, it informs us how well we are helping our students reach grade level and how well we are preparing them for success after college, after they leave. So we look at Domain 1 for Sanchez. We are very proud to say that student achievement, Sanchez scored an 88 out of the 100 possible points with a raw score of a 58. Our goal for 2018-2019 is we want a scaled score of 91 and a 65 raw score or above. That would be Domain 1. Looking at Domain 2, it has 2 areas. It has academic growth and relative performance. Domain 2, Sanchez came in at an 82 out of the possible 100 with a raw score of 76. And in Domain 2B, Sanchez scored a 90 with a raw score of 58. What the state does is they look at the higher of either the growth or the relative performance. And in this case, it was a relative performance, so they looked at that 90, so they used that to get our grade. If you look at Domain 2, the other part, we look at academic growth. Our goal, we want to be at 100, a skilled score with a raw of 100%. And y'all are probably looking at me and saying, how can you do that? Well, we did very well in growing our students, And our goal this year at Sanchez Elementary is ensure that every child grows one color in the color band. If we do that, I know that we will reach that level. For the relative performance, we want to grow all the way to a skill score of a 92 out of 100 possible with a raw score of 65. Going back to that 100, what we have done already is we have presented our executive summary to Dr. Gonzalez. We have met with the teachers. They have presented the data with me. They have come up with their action plan. The teachers have met with the students. The students have set their plans. We have had student-led conferences with the parents. The parents are fully aware of where their students are at, and we expect them to help us. So working together, I think, and I'm gonna say, we are going to hit that 100 in that academic growth. It's a no-brainer right there. Looking at domain 3, closing the gaps, how Sanchez scored, if you look, it has 4 indicators. We met 12 out of the 12 indicators for academic achievement. That is a 100, and that is 30% of the grade. Looking at the other indicator, academic growth, we met 11 out of 12, and that is a 92%, and the academic growth, the worth of that is 50%. The other indicator for domain 3 is the ELP progress monitoring. That is 100, ELP 10% of the grade. Student success, we got 8 of the 8 with an overall score of 96, overall score 92, with a final score of a 91. Again, looking at, and we want to do the same for the future, look at all those indicators, we're gonna get those with a 92 or greater. Going on to looking exactly at the targets, we're looking at the targets, we already counted our students, our teachers know who they are, we know where they're at, so we are very, very positive that we will reach our goal. With all the domains coming together, domain 1, domain 2A and B, and domain 3, we know that we are going to receive a 91, we want a 92 or better, and get all the academic distinctions. And there you can see, if you click it, Dr. Ibarra, there we got all of them. In the history of Sanchez, we have received every single distinction that the state has offered. With 2 years ago, we missed it by 1, but we made it up this year. And at this time, I have a lot of our parents, our staff members, because you all are the practitioners, you all are the ones that really make it happen out there. So we can please stand and be recognized. We have partners in excellence as well, Dr. Izquierdo. You all make it happen. You all know what it takes. And I am very, very proud to call myself the principal at Sanchez Elementary, and because of the type of staff, hardworking, total respectful, and just taking the ideas from one level to the highest level, and that's why we have had the successes that we have had at Sanchez. I do want to thank Dr. Gonzalez, Mrs. V, Dr. Ibarra, and of course our board members, because without you all, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Appreciate your leadership. Once again, thank you to the Sanchez Scholars. Next, we have our McAllen Bulldogs representing the high school level. So we have Mr. Canales and his team here to talk about their game plan on how they're going to move McAllen High School to the next level. Mr. Canales, thank you for being here, sir, with your team.
Oh, yes, sir. Dr. Gonzalez, members of the Board of Trustees, want to go ahead and go over our action plan. We know we only have 5 minutes. I have about 1,000 followers right now watching us live. I got other members of my team that are at a conference that are watching live. There's only like 2 people, and I got 4 minutes and 51 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and turn over to my team, but know that this work's not done alone, so it's done in conjunction with teachers, of course, my administrative team. We have a great student body, great parents, and thank you, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Gonzalez and Bridget V for your support, along with the coordinators. and Dr. Ibarra.
Hello, my name is Erica Salinas. I'm one of the assistant principals at McAllen High School. Thank you for having us today. So we're going to try to condense all our plans and all the things that we do in 5 minutes, so that's a task in itself. So with this picture, I want to say that a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. This is all the work that we put in throughout the school year. These are our students, these are our endorsements, these are our teachers. These are the things that we work towards every single day. So today we're going to talk about how we do to get them there and what kinds of things we're doing to improve what we've already accomplished. So one of the things we do, we're going to try to focus today on the school-wide systems that we implement at McAllen High School to make sure that student instruction and engagement is going on. So as you know, one of the things that we do as a district is the framework for student learners. And we take that not just as a campus, but into the classrooms. Now, one of the things that we implemented last year was becoming an AVID demonstration school. So those systems are in place in the classrooms, teachers directly having an impact on students, having tutors and all those things. Now, one of the new things that we have this year is the 7 steps to language-rich interactive classroom. So it's going to be about focusing instruction to the targeted groups that we have focused at EL learners, special education learners, to make sure that they are having these systems in place to making interactive classrooms so that instruction is meaningful to every student in our campus. Now, we started our school year at Texas A&M McAllen Center. Like Kathy said, we started with the why in mind. Yes, Mr. Alvarado. So we were the first group that went and visited the campus. It wasn't ready. They got it all ready for us. And we started with college and career awareness. As you know, as a district, we're very proud of our post-secondary readiness distinction. So part of it is the high school and the tremendous work we do to ensure that every student is college career ready. So one of the things that we're doing is from the get-go, we're letting teachers know the opportunities that are available to our students and ensuring that all our students know this hard work that we're putting into. And with that said, Mr. Flores is going to talk about AVID.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Sal Flores. I'm the assistant principal at McAllen High School. One of the things that we're proud about was basically becoming a national demonstration school, and I think that itself speaks by itself in sense. But I think the thing that we want to show off the most is basically on 2018-19, we were able to grow from having 14 students when we started 10 years ago to over 300 students in McAllen High School in AVID. And what does that mean to our district? In our district, what it means is that we've been able to get our kids to go into pre-AP and AP courses now. So now we know that we have the abilities to be able to get those kids to the next level, whether it be in college or the workforce. At the same time, what I'm real proud to say is that within that whole process, we were able to go ahead and put in also those 60 AVID tutors in place. These students are amazing because they're our seniors, and they're able to tutor our kids 2 days out of the week in the tutoring classes in AVID, but the other 3 days we take them to regular classes where they tutor kids in core subjects so they can advance in their classes, whether it be AVID or non-AVID students. It's a school-wide system placed in our school. What I do want to finish up with that part is basically saying that we have saved within our school district $72,000 by having these tutors in there, and at the same time, they're not only getting, it's a win-win situation, they're literally getting also trained to be able to become tutors in colleges or in 47 different states in the AVID program. So we are winning in both ways. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Ms. Recio.
Good evening. It seems that we are at our 5 minutes, so I will try to make this as relatively painless as possible. Thank you. Okay. So as Mr. Flores pointed out, AVID is creating access for our students, but we believe access without preparation is not an opportunity. So at McHi, we're working really hard to ensure that all of our students are succeeding at the level that they need to be succeeding at to go on beyond McAllen ISD. And so when I started looking at tutoring groups, I reflected on my personal belief that all students deserve access to a quality and equitable education. And so when I was supposed to pick about 10 to 15 kids, I decided, you know what, all of you are coming. So I literally passed out tutoring slips. You're invited to the party, you're invited to the party, everyone's invited to the party. So every single one of my students went into a tutoring group. And so I apologize to Ms. V, Mr. Miller, and Dr. Gonzalez, who have already heard this traumatic anecdote. But when I was a junior in high school, I wanted to go to the movies with Matt Gonzalez. And my father recalled that Matthew Gonzalez was in the squirrel reading group, and I was in the bluebird reading group. And my dad looked at me and he said, "Mijita, bluebirds do not go to the movies with squirrels." And that is a true story. You can call my mom. So So what that anecdote reveals is that the way that we label our kids and the way that we frame tutoring can be very formative in positive or negative ways. And it can affect what they believe about themselves, about their potential, about tutoring in and of itself. So it's really important to me that we created a positive culture around working with our kids to succeed at their highest level. So I have these 3 groups, so if you'll indulge me for a moment, I want to talk a little bit about how we created that culture at Mac High. My struggling students were in our Michael Jordan group, who is iconicized in a 90s Nike commercial as saying, "I fail over and over and over again, and that is why I succeed." This group showed up at 7:20 the first day of tutoring. One kid looks around, he's like, "Miss, is this the dumb group?" And so that's something that kids have really started to internalize. So I looked and I said, "This is the Michael Jordan group. You are going to save the planet from aliens. You're going to be the best. You are not afraid to fail." And that is why you're going to see, they're like, "Oh yeah, miss, you're right, you're right." So that was a really awesome group. Only 3 of those students were projected to pass their state assessment by the end of the year. In just a few months, every single one of them did. And I was really, really proud of what they did. My high-achieving students that we tend to ignore when we look at student achievement and tutoring, we call that the Beyonce group. They were queens in and of themselves. Nobody looks at Beyonce and says, "We should improve that." Those are the kids that everyone tells you can't teach them, you can't make them better, they're born that way. And I just don't agree. We all have the same 24 hours as Beyonce, okay? And every day Beyonce wakes up and works hard, and that's what I expect from my top achievers. These kids went on to get the best writing scores out of all 5 campuses in the district, showing that you got to invest in your top learners as well. So that was also really incredible what they achieved there. And yes, and my last group, Mr. Miller loves it. I'll just tell Mr. Miller again. So this is my Alabama group. It's my favorite group. Those are the middle kids that we tragically ignore often. They're not struggling. They're not scary smart. So you're like, "Oh, good job." You don't really you don't tutor those kids. But I don't believe in that. I think every kid has room to grow. And so we pulled in this group, and I looked him in the face and said, "I'm Nick Saban. You are Alabama. We are excellent. We are #1. We are always #1." And if you think about it, most people can't name a player from the Alabama Crimson Tide. I can't even pronounce the quarterback's last name, for starters, but they are always the best. And it's awesome to see what kids accomplish when you look them in the eye and tell them that they are excellent, and you expect them to be excellent every single day. So that group also went on, of course, all to pass, and many of them commended for the first time in their academic career, so that was also really awesome to see. So if we transition over to the next slide, what we can see if you look at the data, after 2 months of tutoring, 61% of students showed significant growth of 10% or more. 87% either improved or were consistent. This is my passive-aggressive note at the bottom. This is a slide pulled from my classroom. The people who did worse are the people who have not come to tutoring. Passive-aggressive smiley face. So that was about. So what we learned here is that when you push kids and when you invite them and create that culture of success, then kids are going to do great. That's what I've really learned from this incredible group of kids, is that when you work hard for kids, they work hard for you. So I'm really lucky to be part of a team and family at Mac High that is committing this year to working hard for all of our kids.
Nice team, Bulldogs. Yeah, good job to my team. Awesome, amazing teacher. So she's replicating her stuff. And I think we have one last slide.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. Good job, Mac High. Appreciate you guys. Love the emotional intelligence shirt. Thank you very much. That's awesome.
That was well done.
Wow. And that's an example of 3 of the 31 campuses. It was uploaded for you, all of their campus performance objective goals. And you can see that, and we have a hard copy for you in front. Every campus has a goal. The campuses that finished at 79, I asked them, "What's your goal? You want to grow one?" And they said, "No, Ms. V, no one wants to be anything but 90 or higher." So you'll see not one of the 31 campuses that were below 90 asked for anything less than 90 and higher. The ESSA on the bottom, this is our new federal government, the old AYP, the old No Child Left Behind, every Student Succeeds Act ESSA. And so it is amazing to watch these campuses, the work that they've put forth. They know by number how many students in each student group, and they know exactly where they are right now and where they need to go. And so it's really exciting. Y'all got just a taste of it. Very exciting, and this is a campus item for y'all.
I want to thank Mrs. V, Dr. Ibarra, the entire executive leadership team for their tremendous effort in getting our executive summaries ready. A big thank you to all the campuses that came in and rocked it. You guys came in strong, following our award-winning strategic plan. Everything is aligned to the goals and the strategies in the plan, so we are ultra impressed with everything that came through with regard to the executive summaries, and we're looking forward to some world-class results in the end. So thank you all once again.
Excellent. Very good work. I mean, it's impressive. Wow. Oh, Mr. President.
And this is an action item, sir.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a move and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'd like to reorganize the agenda once again. Item 11D1, Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. You could go ahead and take that item next.
We have the motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Yes, so moved. We're just reading.
What is 11D1?
11D1. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir. 11D1 is the approval of a comprehensive annual financial report for the year ending in June 30th, 2018. The Texas Education Agency and Board Policy CFC requires that the annual audit report be prepared and approved by the board. The comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2018 shall indicate whether the statements are presented in accordance with the general acceptance accounting principles. And Ms. Richards will introduce our independent auditors, and we will be requesting action on this item. Mrs. Richards.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. The external audit was performed by the firm of Carr, Riggs, and Ingram CPAs and Advisors, and Mr. Moreno, the engagement partner, will present the report and staff.
Actually, I'm going to take 5 seconds out of 5 minutes. She will be making the presentation, Mrs. Esmeralda Iniguez. So with that, you pass on some information and then make the presentation herself.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any extras, leave them in the back, because we have 3 board members now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Moreno, we weren't that tough last time, right?
Pardon me?
We weren't that tough last time.
Well, I'm pretty sensitive. Actually,
That was good. That's a perfect answer.
Well, good evening, everybody. We are here to present the McAllen Independent School District Comprehensive Annual Financial Report and our opinion over the financial statements for the year ended June 30, 2018. As Ms. Richards mentioned, Ruben Moreno is the engagement partner, and Carla Gomez is the audit in charge, and we, along with a team of auditors and quality review partners that were involved in the audit. And tonight, we will go over the independent auditor's report. We'll go over some financial highlights that we believe might be of interest to you. Then we'll discuss the federal awards and our opinion on the single audit. And we will touch on the required communications, which is the packet that you have in front of you. Okay, next slide. Well, once again, we are rendering a clean opinion. The financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects, and they are in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America, as is required. The difference this year was that there is a new GASB pronouncement that was issued. As a result of that, the district needed to record a prior period adjustment. And as a result of that, we will see as we go through the financial highlights that it created the vast majority of the variances if you compare the financials from one year to the other. So in the screen you see the long-term and the short-term status of what is considered the balance sheet. This can be found in the MD&A section, and it's a summary of the financial statement located in Exhibit A1. And here you can clearly see the comparison between 2017 and 2018. The items highlighted are the ones that were affected by the new GASB pronouncement related to other post-employment benefits. As a result of that, it impacted deferred outflows of resources, the long-term liabilities, which you see the 226 million includes the 85 million that needed to be recorded as the net OPEB liability for the current year. We also have deferred inflow of resources that was affected by that. And we will see in the next slide how that impacted the negative unrestricted net position that you see at the bottom with 71 million. And lastly, I want to point out the prior year adjustment of 149 million, again, as a result of implementing this new pronouncement. Next slide, please. This is the equivalent of the income statement, again, presenting the long-term and short-term financial activity of the district. The thing that sticks out there is the operating grants and contributions. Last year, it was 57 million in revenues. This year is 7.6 million. And again, this is as a result of implementation of GASB 75. In addition to having to implement this new pronouncement, recording the prior period adjustment, there were a series of changes within the plan that may reduce this revenue and the related expense. So can you go back, please? So here we see the expenses. And again, you see there's a drop. In 2017, you had 265 million. In 2018, you're only reflecting 183 million. You see again, the prior period adjustment is reflected there with a total increase of 35 million compared to 2 million last year. And just to clarify, you can see additional details in Note 22 on the CAFR report, but I just wanted to point out a few items on what this new GASB comes from.
I'm sorry, what does GASB stand for?
Government Accounting Standards Board. And the new pronouncement is related to recording other post-employment benefits. Just like you did 2 or 3 years ago with the pension plan, it's now the benefit also from TRS.
So in essence, we have to account for that in a way that shows it as a liability, as I understand it.
Correct.
Where before it was recorded in a different way, you didn't show it as pronounced as a liability.
Correct. You did not have to recognize the liability. It was recorded at the state, at the plan.
And now they've made it into the campus level or the district level.
Correct. With the liability, the revenues, the expenses, and the deferred inflows and outflows.
And it's taking the number of staff people, projecting it forward as to what you're likely going to have to contribute and be accountable for, whether or not we have the funds at this time.
Well, that is, the intent is for every participant to show the total liability, but in reality, that's what I was going to get at.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got ahead of you, I'm sorry.
Well, let's go through some of these points. Your other post-employment benefit plan comes from the TRS Care. It's a cost-sharing multiple employer defined benefit post-employment health care plan administered by the teacher, by the TRS. The contributions that the district provides on an annual basis are legally established each biennium by the Texas legislature. So even if you wanted to increase your contributions, the state does not allow you to do that at this point. In addition, the net OPEB liability and the related deferred outflows and inflows of resources are actuarially determined. So every year or every 2 years, the actuarial reports are the ones determining what contributions, not the contributions, but it's a series of factors that are considered into arriving at these numbers. So most of those are actuarially determined.
Yeah, it's a good thing we have a CFO that truly understands everything you just said.
So now, and again, that is only affecting your long-term financial statements. What we have in front is the short-term resources, which is what you actually budget for and what the district uses to run the daily operations. And here you see that it's very comparable from one year to another. And you have an unassigned fund balance this year of 54 million, which is slightly bigger than last year. Next slide, please. And this next slide, again, is the short-term financial activity of what would be the equivalent of the income statement. And again, it's very comparable from one year to another. And your excess of revenues over expenditures is actually slightly higher at 12 million versus 9.6 million in the prior year. Next slide. This is the comparison of your budget to actual, which again is what you use, what each of your department uses on a daily basis to monitor your revenues and expenses. And you can see that the requirement of not going over budget, it was met here. Next slide.
Before you go into the federal one, let me just mention a few things on what Esmeralda was talking about on the OPEB. That's TRS care. TRS care, you all are familiar with that.
Unfortunately.
And I'm going to talk about the two that she mentioned very quickly. Pensions. Several years ago, pensions were brought in. The liability was brought in because it was a huge liability that was not reflected in any financial statements anywhere, not the state, not the school districts. And today, several years later, there's $42 million of liability with regards to the pension, TRS pensions. This year, there was this change that she was talking about, and that is TRS care. TRS care, and one, just for, see, it will make an impression. First of all, the retirement, the pension, there's a huge debt, but there's a lot of money. It's actually about 82% of the debt that is owed to employees is covered. There's money in there in the plan. TRS care, there's $400 million in assets and investments in this fund for TRS care. You know, but that is $400 million to cover $42 billion of debt. Only less than 1% of assets are available to cover the debt. So it's a little scary. And therefore, that's why TRS care is a pay as you go. The state can say no more and it's over. And I don't know what happens at that point. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay. As far as the federal awards, you had a total expenditures of federal awards this year of 33 million. From the programs that you had, 2 of them were tested as major programs, which includes the child nutrition cluster and the child and adult care food program. And as a result of that audit, there were no findings related to that. As you can see in the report, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies over internal control over financial reporting, as well as no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies over the internal controls over the major programs. So our opinion is unmodified, also a clean opinion. Next page. And finally, regarding the required communications, which is the packet that you have in front of you, I just want to mention that we met with the Finance Committee on November 5th, 2018, and the topics that we discussed were the required communications to governance, the accounting policies, judgments, and sensitive estimates, and CRI comments on quality. We discussed the summary of audit adjustments, which there was only one in this audit period. And we also discussed the management representation letter obtained from the district's management. And we briefly discussed about the management communications. And again, there were no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies to report. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions for Mr. Moreno?
I'll move that the staff recommends the board trustee, well, actually, the board recommends board trustee, staff, that's kind of worded kind of wrong. I'll move for approval for the comprehensive annual financial report.
Second.
For the year ended.
We have an interesting motion and a second.
I'm reading what's ahead.
I understand. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item for discussion is Section B, Board Members and Board Committee Reports. We'll start with Instructional Services.
20
Mr.
seconds
Sem
per board member.
Saldiva.
Mr. President, real quick, again, I'd like to thank Mr. Moreno and his staff for their due diligence and their communication with the audit committee and keeping us informed on your progress. Thank you for your timely report.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And as to the committee report, this is the instructional report. On Friday, November the 9th, Mr. Alvarado and I met with Dr. Ibarra and Mrs. V to discuss some of the proclamations, but the main one we discussed also was the waiver, which is one of the items we'll be discussing in a little bit. That was really the most significant. That concludes our report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. The next is the Human Resource Chair, Mrs. Debbie Queen-Alicera.
Yes, we have a few things on the agenda this evening, and one of them is very exciting. It's a savings plan that Mr. Miller will go over, and if we need to, we'll elaborate more when we get there.
Savings is always good news. Thank you. District operation reports, that would be myself. I have no report. We did meet, but our stuff's coming right up on the agenda, so we'll discuss it then. And the last is business operation briefing with Mr. Larry Esparza.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Forina and myself had a conference call with Mrs. Richards on Friday. There's 4 items on the agenda tonight. One of them, which we've already discussed, was the approval of the budget amendment, October budget amendment. The other 3 items deal with the tax collections, the tax roll, and the comprehensive annual financial report. Did we already we haven't done that one yet, have we? No. The financial report?
No.
No. We'll be discussing those tonight.
The comprehensive one.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Next item on the agenda is B1, report regarding delinquent tax collections from period July 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2018. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Kelly Salazar from the firm Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP will present the quarterly delinquent tax collection report. This item is for information purposes only. Welcome. Ms. Kelly, how are you?
Good evening, Dr. Gonzalez-Good, members of the board. I'm here to present the first quarter delinquent collections report for the period of July 1st through September 30th, 2018. As always, our delinquent tax collection program on behalf of the district focuses on 2 premises. The first is to collect from the delinquent taxpayer themselves and make every effort to collect with them one-on-one. If that tool is unsuccessful, then we use the second basis, which is the tool of litigation, to collect. During this first quarter, we have completed 3 demand mailings, which included over 7,100 statements mailed. We have initiated over 1,200 phone calls. We have had over 469 taxpayers walk in to any one of our 4 offices in Hidalgo County including one on McCall Road and one on North 10th, so very close in proximity to your delinquent taxpayers. We've had over 185 payoff requests and knocked on over 257 doors in the community, educating and requesting payment. Regarding litigation, we have filed 25 lawsuits. We've disposed of 34 lawsuits. We have initiated 10 tax warrants. And pending litigation as of October 2018, we have 317 lawsuits pending involving McAllen ISD. We regularly conduct tax sales and resales. During this first quarter, we have completed one tax resale, placing only 2 properties for resale. That resulted in over $13,000 collected in base penalty and interest for McAllen ISD. And to our collection highlights, during this first quarter, you'll see collections are up compared to last quarter, with base collections of over $1 million, penalty and interest of over $262,000, with total collections of over $1.3 million. Looking forward to the next quarter and beyond, we will continue monitor any pending lawsuits and review judgments for possible tax sale or resale. We will continue monitoring any accounts that involve a delinquent taxpayer in bankruptcy. We will continue our mailing program. And that concludes my report for this first quarter. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Board members, any questions?
Nope.
Thank you very much for your patience. I know.
It's okay. I'm also a proud parent of a Blanca Sanchez student.
Oh, great, great.
So go McAllen ISD. Have a good evening.
And your Irish are winning, so you're in a good mood.
I mean, we're 10-0, so there's hope. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
B2 has already been discussed. The next item is B3, report regarding proposed tax ratification election projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This item is an update of the TRE projects approved on September 8, 2019. This item is for information purposes only. Mr. Ruben Trevino will share with us.
Good evening. I'll be presenting an update as of today on our TRE election. We will be going over every line item as we present it to our community. This past September, the first item that we have here is our safety and security facility upgrades district-wide. We are currently working on the fencing, modifications to the front entrances, and also on our camera systems that we'll be implementing throughout our middle schools here in the next months to come. The 19 additional police officers, all officers have been hired as of today. They have already undergone 3 weeks of training, 1 week of shadowing, which is this week, and the first day that they'll be starting on the campus is November 26th on Monday. So all elementaries will have an officer on site beginning November 26th. Our next item is the intercom upgrades. We're currently working with our engineers, Heffen Associates, on the work authorizations. Contracts have been approved by legal, and we will proceed with the design development of those intercom upgrades. The 134 defibrillators, working with our health services department, Ms. Adalia del Bosque has gathered all her quotes already, have been submitted to purchasing, and are working out the details to place the order on the defibrillators. The next item is our science lab renovations at the 3 comprehensive high schools and Lamar Academy. We're currently working with the engineer and the consultant as well. We've already walked all 4 high schools, identified the labs through the science department, science department heads, principals at the high schools, and we have a scheduled walk for this Thursday and Friday of this week to finalize plans to possibly go out for bids in the month of December. The additional item that we have is a staff compensation plan that was implemented last month by our payroll department, and that is all I have for our TRE update.
Mr. Alvarado.
Excuse me. We also plan on bringing back a report for the month of December. We have been working with all the different departments involved, and Ms. Richards, myself, are proposing a spreadsheet to be able to present all the expenditures as they go. If we incur any savings in any expenditure, we will be putting that on the contingency allowance that we have at the bottom. And if we need any monies, the contingency's there for those purposes. But the idea is to bring savings and to keep the board updated on any, expenditures as we go along, so that the community can also be aware.
A great report. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez and Mr. Thruni and the rest of the team for making sure that we quickly mobilize, the additional resources. My questions are the science labs. I'm surprised to hear and pleasantly surprised to hear that you're moving forward with all 4?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So are we planning to simultaneously build our 4, or are you going to concentrate on one first? I mean, it doesn't matter to me, the fact that you're having.
The goal right now is to finish all 4 before the school year starts, and,
Of this coming year?
yes.
Awesome.
If we're out on December, early January, out for bids, we have a lead time on the equipment of approximately 8 to 10 weeks. We're anticipating having equipment delivered and a contractor on board by January, February. Therefore, equipment would be here by April. We would have a month of leeway and be ready to start demolition and modifications in the summer months.
Okay. As far as, and you said there was a consultant, who was the consultant?
We have, we're talking with 2 different consultants through the engineering firm that
Okay.
they are using.
But that's their.
That is what they do, yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I have, sir.
Anyone else? Question?
Sure. Mr. Esparza.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ruben, what exactly are we getting at each one of those high schools for the $827,000? Because I know last year you gave us some plans and for Mac High and some of the campuses. Are those the plans that we're talking about, and is all of that gonna be covered in that cost? I don't
The
see
plans that were
number.
presented, and we presented that before the TRE went out, was a standalone building per high school. And that,
But prior to that, you had talked about the remodeling. I know at Mac High upstairs, taking those 2 rooms and making maybe 4 or something like
Exactly.
that.
prior to that, we had looked at the feasibility of having the upstairs science areas modified and completely remodeled along with restrooms and elevator. Upon going into the phase and looking at the feasibility, we realized that it was more doable to go with a standalone building versus making those expenditures and going back into those areas in the second floor at McAllen. Therefore, that led us to look at the options of a standalone building per high school. And after that, it was a decision of the committee and the board to go with modifications at each high school and not do a standalone. And that is what was presented on the TRE. The following modifications are 2 science labs to bring them up to the 21st century at each high school. Pretty much, we're looking at completely demoing, redoing from the chemical storage room to the lecture area / lab area.
So
And
at Mac High, you're taking 1 room and making it into 2, or what are you doing exactly at Mac High?
at McAllen High School, we're looking at 2 rooms on the bottom floor
Okay.
that has been decided by the science department to go with 2 rooms down on the bottom, and those are going to be the state-of-the-art chemistry labs.
You'll make 2 out of 2.
Yes.
At Memorial?
Memorial High School is the same thing, 2 out of 2.
Okay.
Rowe High School, we're looking at the possibility of adding 1, and we will find out here this next week on the feasibility of extending out to one of the additional rooms that has all utilities next to it, to see what the possibility is of having an additional lab.
Okay, and then at Lamar?
At Lamar, we're looking at the 2 outer rooms, being the Blue Bonnet and the adjacent room on this side, as to turning those into science labs.
And for Mac High, Memorial, and Rowe, the renovations that you're talking about, they're not gonna be covered by that full amount, right? I mean, it's gonna be, is it more than that, or is that gonna cover it all?
We feel comfortable that we'll be at that or below.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. This has already been budgeted. This is part of the encumbered fund balance.
Correct.
Which is probably about $47 million. out of our fund balance, as I recall correctly. And of that, for the science labs, it's almost 3.3, it's $3.298 million for those science labs that we're mentioning there. And how much of that is a contingency within that plan, if any?
The established budget per lab that we've identified or gone with is 600,000, and we've allotted some fees for the professional as well, and that's going to give us a contingency of about, I'm going to say $50,000 per lab, 10% of what we're going out for.
Okay. So probably around $30,000 to $40,000 plus or
Correct.
menos out of those science labs. And that's adding more than what we originally had discussed prior to the TRE in the plan. Okay. The other thing I've noticed is that based on this plan, we hired 19 police officers, and these will go at the end of this month to the campuses. And that was $983,693, which we're now committed to for the remainder of this year and going forward. Is that my understanding?
Correct. Part of the 983, it is my understanding, it's not a whole reoccurring cost, because part of the 983 is equipment that was purchased for the officers. So we will have that detail for you in the month of December with the actual reoccurring cost and the equipment costs.
But for this year and for foreseeable, the equipment cost is already captured. I mean, we had the money for that, it was already budgeted, that's taken care of.
Correct, yes.
And then these salaries, which we're paying for these officers, that's already been budgeted, so there's no budget amendment for here.
Correct.
It's already locked in, so that's that amount. And then the $1,414,952, that's already been paid out to teachers and staff based on what was previously determined in the TRE that would be paid out, which would have been roughly, what, 1.5 for the teachers?
Yes.
And about one.
No, it was closer to 2.9 of the average median market for teachers.
That was the balance total.
Yes, the balance.
Yeah, because we'd already provided 1 point.
Before
Go ahead.
TRE.
You're fine, Chair.
We've provided a 1.5 initially in the budget plan, and then approved, if the TR would pass, it would be a 299?
For teachers, and then it's 2.99
Yes,
and 2.5.
2.5 for everybody else that wasn't a teacher. And so that's already accounted for the 1.4 million más o menos. So that's 2,398,645 that have already been executed for all intents and purposes. From our actions on the TRE and the plans we'd already laid out, the administration has already addressed those right away. Very good. Now, the $1 million going to facility and security upgrades district-wide. Can you give us a little bit of plan on what remains out of that and how much you may be using? Because I think at one conversation we may have had is it may not have needed the full amount since other security projects have already been put in play.
Part of the upgrades include the district-wide security camera upgrades that we're looking at into going with an IP system now at the middle schools. So that's going to use a good portion of that. Another area that we have outlined for that is the perimeter fencing for, quite a bit of our campuses that are still in need. We will be having some help, though, through CDBG funding to the tune of about $102,000, $103,000 that goes to fencing that we've already been approved for those particular campuses, so that we can use that funding towards that, and we will have additional funding from that $1 million.
And that's a grant we received.
Correct, yes,
So
sir.
we've got to locate it and place it in those areas that it's allowed
Yeah.
to spend and do. Okay. And it's a reimbursement once we do that. Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Aguilera?
I should have asked this in the committee meeting, and I apologize. On the science labs, the 827, is that just the construction, or is that, how much of that is construction, how much of that is equipment, is desk equipment, things like that?
We can bring forth a number that will detail the budgeted amounts for that particular area, but this will include anything from your ventilation hoods to your chemical-resistant countertops to additional utilities that we may have to run, such as gas lines or, chemical-resistant, piping that we may need to come in with, and if we need to reorganize the classroom area in a particular wall that we may have to do an encased opening, that will include it as well. The equipment, beakers, scales, items like that, microscopes, those are already within the labs themselves. So we're working with the science department to see what additional items will be needed to enhance the 21st century learning at those labs once we have them completed.
Okay, thank you.
Are we doing a lot of in-house, the remodeling? I mean, or is there anything?
The way that we're going to look at it is if we can save money by doing some of the demolition work in-house, that is certainly an option. So once we delineate and line it up to see, once a bid goes out, we will have that as an option as well.
The problem is you've done such a good job in-house of all our new facades, the entrances to all the schools, and now we're like, well, you can do it all. We don't need to take it out anymore.
Ruben, I have some questions regarding the science labs. For example, I'm going to use the three existing high schools, McAllen, Mackay, Memorial, and Rowe. It's fair to assume that the science labs, where they've chosen to have their science labs, there's already piping, there's pipes there, there's structure there. So it could be that, let's say, for example, here, it might be a little bit more expensive to run some utilities because there's nothing existing here, right?
Correct.
So it's also fair to say that whatever savings we have from one school might have to be put into another school.
Yes, we're looking at it as a whole project.
Perfect.
For all four.
Perfect. And then my last question, I think I know the answer to this already, but I'm just going to make it public record. The intercom upgrades, this should all be upgraded by the beginning of next year, am I correct?
Yes, we're looking at having the designs ready by December, January, bidding it out to hopefully have a contractor on board by February and completing it, by summertime at these four schools.
Perfect. Any other discussion on this? Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Next item is B4, report regarding McAllen ISD strategic plan. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir. This is an update of year two, the 2017-2018 performance metrics and TEA accountability system adjustments that we've made to our strategic plan. And I do want to commend the staff for using our strategic plan as the anchor for our district. And we look forward to giving you guys a short presentation on each strategy. So each executive leadership team member will give a short 2-minute presentation on their particular strategy.
Yes, sir, Dr. Gonzalez, and if I may, I wanted to just point us out to the page 11 through page 16. And there's a font color of blue that indicates the changes that we've done, and those changes have to do with the upgrade to the new accountability system that went into effect for the 2017-18 year, the domain 1 through 3 and the A through F. So those are those changes in that part. And then we will proceed with strategy 1, performance metrics 2017-18 year 2. Mr. Miller.
Good evening. Strategy 1 is branding, and we will effectively and continuously communicate and market the district's mission, strengths, success, and diverse opportunities for every learner. An example of that, marketing banners were added to the outside of district facilities to publicize district successes, including the post-secondary readiness distinction, HEB excellence in education state finalists, and the Monitor's 2017 Reader's Choice Awards favorite district for 1.1. Strategy 2, attract and retain high-quality staff. For financial literacy, for example, financial literacy information was presented at the 2017-2018 new teacher orientation and during the new teacher academy. And for objective 2.2, create and deploy recruiters to attract high-quality staff. District created an MOU with UTRGV for Step Up program to house 20+ student interns for the 2018-2019 school year. Thank you.
And I have strategy 3, and that is on page 72. And strategy 3 is engaging learning environment. And that is, again, the continuation of the framework of student learnings for IB and for STEAM Plus. And as you all well know, there were, when we started this 17-18, 33 campuses. And there were 26 campuses with the framework of student learning STEAM Plus, 5 campuses operating with the framework of student learning, IB, and we've just dropped 2 campuses from that this year. And the highlights for this strategy include safety. Safety became a big component of this update when the superintendent led the community in the town hall in the spring. And so that became a very new meaning to fostering a secure and supportive, rigorous and engaging learning environment. It took a new meaning in the spring of 2017. And then we went, 2018, I'm sorry. And then, of course, we went on with the ongoing teaching of the teachers from the content, the core content teachers, and of course, our principals. Every month in the instructional leadership seminars, the principals themselves were presenting to each other action plans on emotional intelligence, 7 competencies in the STEAM Plus. And so that was a rigorous year of learning with them. We also committed to taking surveys, so core coordinators took surveys at every professional development that they did with the teachers, and the surveys were anonymous, where the teachers could feel safe to say what was helpful for them and not. And we, the executive leadership team, as well followed suit, and at the end of the year of 2018 in June, we gave a paper survey to all principals regarding their opinions and constructive criticism to each assistant superintendent, each director, myself, the coordinators. And those were tallied and given to Dr. Gonzalez, where we learned a lot. We had a lot of reflection on things that they shared with us. And last was just the update. It took a massive amount of publication updates throughout the year of 2017-18 to ready ourselves for the new accountability system, which included the curriculum bulletin and many publications on value-added progress monitoring. It's the highlights for Strategy 3.
And I have Strategy 4, the strategic plan, which centers around rigorous world-class standards customized for every learner. As part of Objective 4.1, which focuses on identifying, aligning, and applying national and international academic standards to develop and enrich curriculum for student growth and success. As a district, we continue to expand the opportunities for students participating in advanced academics such as AP, IB, dual enrollment, and UT on-ramps. We also continue to offer PSAT and SAT district-wide testing opportunities at no cost to the students to ensure that students transition seamlessly from high school to college. In addition, as part of Objective 4.2, which focuses on individualized learning through a diverse and rigorous curriculum to challenge and motivate every learner, the district continues to strengthen the dual language program at 7 elementary campuses while supporting the newly implemented secondary dual language program at Fossum Middle School, which is now at the 6th grade level. The district has committed to expand the secondary dual language program to 7th and 8th grade at the middle school in the following years, and eventually to high school, and training and resources have been allocated to support this program. And Strategy 5 will be discussed by Mr. Trevino.
Strategy 5 is partnerships with business and civic educational organizations. Objective 5.1 is to create partnerships and develop internship programs. Part of the performance metrics for 5.1 include student support services provides a centralized feedback, avenue for student and parent-related issues or concerns. Orientation procedures for new students and parents are continuously reviewed and updated for improvement. District representatives have attended monthly coalition meetings in order to network with members of local health service agencies. Objective 5.2 is to create formalized agreements with educational, business, and civic entities to develop mentorship programs. Establish a mentoring program contacts with neighboring districts and civic organizations by attending monthly Region and 1 CTE networking meetings. A document will be produced that contains wage earning mentorship partnerships in retail marketing, business management, hospitality, and pharmacy. And the completed McAllen ISD Community Partnership Strategic Design Project Plan will be presented at future ILS meetings. Objective 5.3 is utilize a broad range of media to communicate real-time district opportunities, which encompass jobs, academics, and business partnerships and district activities. Performance metrics for Year 2, 2017-18. Human Resources completed automating all performance management evaluation instruments. and job descriptions are being reviewed, and HR is working with directors to ensure communications are addressed as a job evaluation criteria.
Okay, and I have strategy 6, future ready students, and this objective centers on creating and fostering principal students who learn, adapt, and innovate in response to their ever-changing environment. And so the goal of this strategy is to afford students the opportunity to learn 21st century skills that are vital to being successful in school, career, and life by recognizing the importance of developing people skills, working well with others, and giving back to the community. The district has programs in place to help students develop these skills, including our capstone project, which we are very, very proud of. Every year, we continue to grow the number of capstone projects that are implemented across the district, both at the IB campuses through the exhibition and the CAS program, and at the STEAM campuses through the capstone project. So those programs continue to grow and will continue to expand, affording students the opportunity to learn these valuable skills. In addition, the next objective that I'd like to focus on is 6.2, which is focusing on implementing adaptive and innovative ideas that identify and resolve real-world issues. And this one, I'm sorry, I meant to say 6.3, which centers on creating teacher trainings to facilitate the use of innovative and adaptable technologies to teach future-ready students. We're very proud that through the Instructional Technology Department, teachers continue to improve their technology skills to stay current with the most recent teaching and learning technology tools that add value to instructional delivery. Among the trainings that are offered on a yearly basis are iPad Palooza, training at each campus by technology specialists, district training for administrators and teachers, and attendance to state and national technology conferences, including Southwest by Southwest and the ISD. All of these trainings that our teachers and administrators attend, they come back and turn it around and continue to expand the learning by providing more opportunities for teachers. The district will continue to provide training and resources that afford teachers the technological skills needed to teach future-ready students. And that
Thank you. Strategy 7 is financial priorities. Objective 7.1 is to prepare a budget aligned with financial priorities while providing for competitive market-based compensation plan, adequate per pupil spending, and contingency planning. The district accomplishes this by having a sufficient balance in the general fund in case of financial needs or crisis. On June 30th, 2017, the fund balance of the general fund was $86,762,732, representing an increase of $2,666,796. The budget also includes a competitive market-based salary compensation plan that provides for pay increases. The 2017-18 budget included a 2.5% general pay increase to improve market competitiveness. Starting teacher salary increased to $46,850 to better align with the market. And the district strives to keep a general fund payroll cost at no more than 80% of budget. The payroll costs are budgeted at 79% of the total 27-18 general fund budget. Objective 7.2, to continue to provide financial transparency and meaningful monitoring while demonstrating that budget is in line with established priorities. The district follows all local policies as well as state and federal laws and regulations in the operations and school business programs. The McAllen ISD received an A for Superior in 2017, 2016, and 2015 under the Texas School First Financial Accountability Rating System, receiving a perfect score for the 6th year in a row. The McAllen ISD received an unmodified opinion in the 2016-17 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report on the financial statements as a whole as determined by the external independent auditors. And the district continues to provide financial transparency. The Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts awarded Transparency Stars for traditional finance in 2016-17 and debt obligations for 16 and 17. Objective 7.3. Maintain financial stability in the district to achieve the most effective and efficient use of taxpayer dollars while maintaining excellent academic and extracurricular programs along with technology and facility improvements. The district's achieving the most effective and efficient use of taxpayer dollars by monitoring and maximizing revenue streams and maintaining best procurement practices to attain best value for goods and services. And the budget includes allocations to enhance academic programs. The budget for STEAM is $571,816. The budget for robotics is $269,816, and budget for campus allocation increases was $538,575. And that concludes Strategy Center.
Questions? Mr. Esparza?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Miller, you had strategy one, the branding, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the goal of our branding program? What is the ultimate goal? I'm not asking you to read it, just, I mean, you're working on it. What is the ultimate goal of that program?
I think to appropriately brand our community, our district within the community, across all the various spectrums, to communicate through many spectrums, not only in print, but media, social media.
Okay, I get that. We want to let everybody know what we have, but what's the reason behind that?
But to let them know what we're doing here at McAllen ISD and the value that we're
Bring
bringing.
kids?
I'm sorry?
And to bring students?
Certainly, we're certainly always recruiting and retaining, focused on everything else.
And that's my concern is, we're down 800 students. It doesn't sound like it's working. And I don't know what the answer is. I had dinner with a board member, a former board member last week, and he said, you've got great commercials. You know, they look really great on TV, but if you're down 800 kids, then it's not, you're not reaching the right kids, or you're not getting the right message out. And I agree. I mean, it's good what we're doing as far as sending the message out, all the good things we're doing here and all the good things going on in the district. And there are a lot of good things. But if ultimately we want to retain and increase enrollment, it doesn't sound like it's working. And I'm just thinking maybe you need to refocus or try something different. I don't know. And I'm not saying it's just that is the reason we're losing kids. There's a lot of reasons we're losing kids. But it doesn't sound like it's having an impact as far as bringing kids in. I know last year or the year before, admin went on the bus, knocking on doors. Doesn't sound like that worked either. So I don't know what the answer is. But maybe we need a different approach or incorporate a different message in there along with that message, because that one doesn't sound like it's not helping us bring kids in. And I'm asking for what are your all's thoughts on that? Because
Yeah, and that's some of the challenges we've been talking about as an executive leadership team is we know that we're doing a lot of great things. So what we're trying to do is leverage our successes. That's one. So the fact that we're performing at a high level, we know that success breeds participation. So we're trying to get kids to come in. We're also trying to establish ourselves as a district of choice, but it's very difficult. As you were saying, there's different variables, right? So we're a landlocked city. Birth rates are down. Housing is more expensive in McAllen. There's different variables that we're dealing with regard to competition now. As we talked about earlier, a new school being built down the road on where is going to be another challenge. So it's an open market now. So it's a new frontier for us as a public education system. But we're trying to leverage branding and marketing and trying to find that one thing that'll kind of stop it. We had a hypothesis that the tuition-based pre-K program would work, and that didn't draw as many kids as we thought. So our Head Start did help us out, so we're hoping that those kids will stay with us. But at this point in the game, it's just, you're right, we're going to look back at it to see how can we make adjustments and get kids to stay in our city.
And I'm just saying, I don't know what is budgeted for that strategy, but if we're spending all that money and it's not getting us anywhere, then maybe we need to refocus, redirect or something.
Yes.
As far as how we're spending that money. Another question I had is on strategy 8, and it's kind of all tied together, and this was the one, Cindy, you covered right now. and you talked about payroll costs, and we've tried to maintain payroll costs under 80%. I think we're just at 79 point something percent. With 800 kids down, that's a whole middle school. Yet payroll costs are not down. And you know, the community's gonna say, well, how can you be 800 less kids, losing kids, and yet your payroll costs is the same? We need to have an answer for that, you know? And I understand you don't lose 800 kids at one campus, they're spread out, and so you don't, but at the same time, if you've lost 800 kids, I think we talked about it earlier, that's $4 million less in ADA funding. So that money's gotta come from somewhere, and I mean, I'm not talking about laying off staff, but I mean, it's obviously, that's a concern, you know, why are payroll costs the same when you have declining enrollments, and, you know, how are we gonna address that?
Well, we'll continue to look at efficiencies throughout the budget, from payroll costs all the way down to capital outlay. So we are looking at every category as we've come into the year and as we continue moving forward month to month. And it's something we are monitoring. We are trying to identify savings as they are occurring, and earmarking them to go against the proposed or possible deficit that we will have. So.
Yes, just a couple of comments on the branding. I think first, the decline in students has been going on for a while. It's not just something that happened this year. Unfortunately, it's been a trend. I know we kind of stopped the leaps and bounds of the kids that we were dropping, but this year was a little higher than normal. But my comment, I said it earlier in the meeting, I do think, though, that visits that we did to the community was very helpful, because when we did go talk to the parents, they didn't have the information of all the great things that we were doing. They didn't have information of the local elementary schools, and we did the South Side. But they did have the information of IDEA, and they were able to, and I'm sorry I said it, but I don't like to give them press, but they were able to recite their message. All the kids go to college. So I think the fight for us is not in the branding, is that we need to think outside the box and hire community outreach that go into the doors, go into the homes, and talk the language of parents and tell the story that we have. Until we do that, we rely on social media, but that's not where you have those conversations, because they're saying to open up a great idea school in South. Well, we need someone to go talk to those parents in those schools right now and tell them all the great things we have. We have Houston has Houston Mini Metropolis. We have IB schools. We have so many things, and we also we have to start telling our story that our kids, if they want to go to college, they're going to go to college. They want to go another track, we have different tracks. You just had a signing not too long ago, Dr. Gonzalez, with the Chamber of Commerce. It was
Apprenticeships.
Yeah, absolutely home run. But that message is only getting, at social media. I think we got to go the extra step. And I know one board member has told me, and I don't know what it is, if we bring 20 students into the district and we hire somebody, whatever the salary is, $60,000, how many students does it cost to recoup that expense? And it's not that many students. So I think we need to do something pretty quick as far as a pilot. And again, it's just a recommendation. I mean, a lot of organizations, you cannot rely just on branding the name. You have to be able to hire people that can carry our story. So that's my challenge. We need to have this conversation. I know that's what this is for, but this is, I think we've addressed a lot of issues within the school district. We're on the right path. This is one that's just been a thorn in the sides. I think now it requires our full attention, and maybe it's something we need to bring back as far as another board meeting where we can discuss options, Dr. Gonzalez, and you can discuss your plan more in depth.
Mr. President, if I may. And one thing we were talking about as an executive leadership team is we're looking at the numbers also and seeing that this year, looking at 800 kids, we're trying to see, well, it's an outlier year, why so many? And part of it was we made some bold moves with repurposing some campuses. So we know that when we repurposed Navarro and when we repurposed Lincoln, we kind of worked that inefficiency into our own situation. So that caused a little bit more of a dip. Also, we got more strict on two of our elementary campuses that were larger, that were open. So when we got more strict on those boundaries in two of our elementary schools, that created some loss also there too. So we're attributing those aren't the only factors, but those are some of the factors that we're saying, well, that contributed to the higher, closer to 800, as opposed to the 5 that we were seeing for the last, X amount of years.
And I think also, if I could just add, and I appreciate it, and you're absolutely right on those comments, but I think there's also, you changed the philosophy of some of our schools. Now our secretaries are at this school, the front line, are identifying potential lead, but we still have a way to go. I had a parent ask me the other day, I asked him, hey, are you in McAllen ISD? Because he was eating in one of our restaurants. He goes, no, I'm somewhere else. He goes, yeah, I wanted to come into into the gifted program, but when I went to the school, I didn't get all the information I needed. I'm like, well, I'll have someone call you, type of deal. And I think that's the opportunity that we're missing, is when someone comes up and says, hey, I have a little specific question. I asked them what it is. Well, I wanted my kids to be tested before I got into school. I said, I don't know if it works that way, but nevertheless, that's an opportunity. And we had someone that their only job is to do that. I think we'll make some strides, because it's little stuff. If someone walks into school and they don't get all the questions answers, they just walk out. That's a missed opportunity for us. And in today's climate, our story is second to none, in my humble opinion. So yes, we need to be able to not be so humble about that anymore, and really take it to our the residents. There's no reason for anybody in McAllen to be going to any other school than our school districts.
And all these points are well taken, and we will definitely look at all the suggestions and come back with a report on how we're going to get better in this area.
Ms. Alejandra?
I absolutely 100% agree, and I just wanted to say, I was thinking the whole time, if we were to run it like you run a campaign, a political campaign, if we were to have, block walkers, mail outs, all the people that the other schools are hitting, that we're not hitting,
yeah.
it's exactly what we need. But when you drive around McAllen, it's been a pet peeve of mine for a while, even on the stadium, on every single marquee that you drive by, nowhere is our logo. You drive by Mac High, it doesn't have the McAllen ISD logo. You drive by Perez Elementary, it doesn't have the logo. Morris Middle School, there's no logo on our marquees, and all you need is a little round sticker on every single marquee that has the logo of McAllen ISD. On the
That's your
stadium,
brand.
driving by, that's our brand.
Yeah.
I mean, on our own facilities, we don't have it.
Yeah.
And that's such an easy fix, But I absolutely 100% agree, and I do think it's time that we go out and hire a marketing department and approach it a different way, and actually read all these exit interviews that we're supposed to be getting. There's all these, we need to be very, very, very aggressive in getting the students that left us to return to us, and getting new students, because McAllen is growing, and our school district should be growing as well.
I think it's outreach, and marketing. When I think of marketing, someone, it's, what branding, what we're talking about. I want action.
Mm-hmm.
They can take any flyer and they can go, they can take this right here and go talk to a parent.
Yeah.
So we need an outreach, bilingual, the one that can just relate to that mom and dad or grandmother, aunt, uncle, whoever it is. But we're in
outreach.
agreement.
Yeah.
Mr. President. Go ahead. Thank you. The benefit of having children going through public or going through a higher education, you learn something. And so my son graduated from the University of Texas in Austin, and here he was watching some of our meetings and hearing about what we were doing, talking about marketing and advertising on it, and he says they're actually all separate, and you have to have an expertise in all of those. And in addition to that, you have to have a salesperson, a recruiter, an individual, as you mentioned, getting out there, or at least getting the troops mobilized once we know that our brand is McAllen ISD. We could live in the past with each campus living in its own neighborhood, but the reality is it could still have the neighborhood school to some extent, but we've also tailored some campuses to being very purposeful, the dual language, only certain campus, because we want a program going all the way through high school and on to post-secondary. The International Baccalaureate, because we want elementary to go to from PYP, MYP to the diploma program. Again, very purposeful. Micro societies, or the mini-tropolis, I should say. I mean, and it goes across the board. But that is what we offer. Now, what is the brand of that? Well, it starts with having the McAllen ISD logo on every single one of our buildings. I see it on our vehicles now more than ever. I mean, you guys have done great on that. But more importantly is you got to have somebody that's truly preparing for this district a marketing, an advertising, a recruitment, and a communication strategy. They're all separate skill sets, and right now it looks like we have it all montaged into one department, and we keep putting more on it and more expectation. And so when a question like Trustee Espasa brings up, okay, what does that mean? It's kind of hard because you're talking about 5 or 6 or 7 disciplines just right off the bat. So I do think we probably at a point, and so one of those inflection points where you're going to have to make a hard decision. That means we're going to have to set money aside in a budget and hire a firm to actually look at all of that. What is it that we are, and what is it that we're not, and how do we now apply those various, from effective communication to our target audience, whether it's a student, whether it's mom, whether it's a family, whether, you know, different groups of people. We have to be able to do that. And then, of course, tell our story, what we're doing, in a much more effective way. Having said that, some of the questions I had deal with academics and the hours late. We can cover this in our Instructional Services Committee. But recently we had a question, we had a lot of discussion, and rightly so, about the drop being down and retaining juniors with 13 to 19.5. They didn't become seniors. And when we rank, just like the TEA and the Higher Education Code, only seniors can apply to post-secondary classes, not a junior. So the school districts have to determine who is your senior class and where they rank, and then you got to determine what your 10%ers are, so the automatic admissions. Becomes very critical for UT Austin and Texas A&M College Station. We know that. That's all come out. But I'd like to hear, not necessarily today, is we found out that about 17% at 2 of the high schools and about 6% in the 3rd high school, I'm not going to name names, but we know who they are. What is it that we're going to be doing as we move forward? I was very impressed with the AVID program and what MACI had to offer, what they were suggesting for the high schools. If that is your plan, that they were bringing those 80%ers, you have your top 10 and roughly should have no more than 10, we're higher than that. We should be closer to 5, or if not closer to 0 is obviously what we want to get to. So everybody moves up and graduates on time. So I think that's the key here, because again, it's who we are, you know. And if we're not moving, if we're retaining in the 3rd grade students that did well in class, but because they didn't pass the STAR reading test, they did not go to the 4th grade, and that does happen. Not in big numbers, but it does. The same thing in 8th grade. They may be passing in class and doing well, but if they don't pass a certain STAR test, they don't advance. Now, you all use the summer to catch up. That's all good and fine, but when you get to your junior year and that bridge between junior and senior, and you got in less than 2.5 months to catch up from 13 to 19.5, we need to know, just like the board policy that came out under legal, that should have every student definitely at the junior year, when you know they're not going to be on time, they got to have a personal graduation plan. I know that legal says you do that at the junior year, but there's nothing to say we can't do it even sooner. In fact, in my mind, I think every student, as I was hearing tonight, is they're identifying very early on where they need to be using students in whatever ways possible. Because we can talk about branding, we can talk about what we're doing in our facility, but if the final denominator is going to be, well, who is McAllen ISD? They got a great football program, got a lot of spirit, you know, great marquees, but what kind of academic program? And if you go to that school, just like when we were going to school, you get a certain teacher or you get a certain program, you're going to do well. And having experience with my son, the certain teachers and et cetera, I can name them, and luckily I've gotten to see many of them, and he is where he is today because of them. And that's what we need to do is that experience that they have, that every family gets to connect with that campus, every family gets to connect with that teacher, and every family knows what McAllen ISD is about from an academic standpoint. Just like that other competitor that said, all the kids go to college. What's our book?
Mr. President, just one last comment, I'm sorry. When the young teacher from MACI was talking about all the incredible stuff they do as far as you know, I'm sitting here, my son goes to another school, and it really resonated when she said Beyonce, because he's a good student, but no one's really pushed him to go to the next step. I was thinking, I'm taking you to put her in her class. And that's the story, if it got me going, man, are we doing that at the high school that he's at? But that's the story that we need to tell our parents, because maybe they don't know.
No doubt.
I didn't know, and I'm on the board, I didn't know that we were doing that at McAllen. That's incredible. They're closing those gaps. That's the story, I think. I think all the billboards and all that are great, but if we're not telling that story to us as parents, you know, because I'm gonna go, one of the McAllen parents like, wow, I didn't even know we did that. She's, you know, I bet she's gonna go talk to her son today. That's how we keep our students here.
No doubt. You have to believe in the system. And in the world of advertising, Mr. Esparza, I was a lot like you when I first started my business. Everybody wanted me to spend money. And one thing I learned about marketing and about advertising is you don't get the results right away. I'll give you an example. I was asked to advertise in a magazine, and they said, okay, well, the contract is for a year. I said, no, I just want to be on there once. I'll pay my money and I'm done. And he said, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 4 months for free. You pay for 6 months and put it on all year. I said, okay. I didn't see any results until a year later. When I stopped advertising and the people would open the magazine and see my advertisement there, it wasn't until they didn't see it anymore that I saw some people and I saw my return. I'll give you an example. If it was true and we would advertise one time or for a short while and not get results, we would quit. None of us here would know what Dale Gas would mean. They've spent millions upon millions of dollars to get their message across. But it's not only an advertisement, we are the walking billboards. My wife gets mad at me all the time because if we go to H-E-B or we go to Walmart and I see a parent with an idea shirt, I go up to them and I ask them, why do you send your kid there? And she's like, leave him alone. But I'm interested to know, and that's because I believe in our school system. If I see you eating a Whataburger, I'm going to ask you, why are you eating a Whataburger? Why aren't you eating at Marco's Burgers? You know, what don't you like about, and so we have to be our own billboards. As much money as we spent, we have to believe in our district. When people have questions and say, you know, why do you send your kids? You know, we don't have the money that our competitors have. There's no way we could match them dollar for dollar in terms of advertisement. But I can put a teacher up against theirs, and I guarantee you that your kid will get a better education with us. And why? Because I believe that. And if all of us believe that, and all of us go and advertise and send that message every day, I mean, our kids will come back, and we're getting kids from other districts. So obviously something's working. But the most important thing that I've seen in the past few years that I see now when I go eat at restaurants is that the community believes in us. That the advertisement that we've been putting out there that people have seen, it's like Mr. Alvarado says, now people know what's happening. And that's important to us because the community has to believe in us. The heartbeat of the city is our school district. You have the mayor saying this now. What more could we ask for than our city leader saying, come to McAllen because of our schools? And so, do I believe we need to tweak the system? No doubt in my mind. Do I believe that what we've done is not working? No, I think it's working, but advertisement and any marketing major will tell you, and anybody in the advertising business will tell you, the money you put up front, you will not see your return right away. It's a lengthy process, so we got to believe in it, we got to be patient, and I think if we continue to do this, our district will continue to get better. So, with that being said, any other questions or comments?
No, sir.
We move to item 9, actions in closed session. Item 9A, approval of human resource recommendations for school year 2018-2019. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations under separate cover for discussion during closed session. We are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item B, human resource employment resignations for school year 2018-2019. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations for the 2018-2019 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information purposes only.
Item 9C, approval of the Assistant Superintendent for District Operations. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Administration recommends Arely Benavides for the position of Assistant Superintendent for District Operations. We are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 9D, pending or potential litigation.
No report.
Item 9E, possible real estate acquisitions.
No report.
Item 10, there's nothing on the consent agenda. We go to item 11A, approval and request for maximum class size waiver application for 2018-2019. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Since the submission of the first waiver request was September 25th, additional sections are now over the 22-to-1 ratio, and Dr. Ibarra will share more information with us.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Pursuant to Texas Education Code 25.112, a district must submit a request for class size waiver for any classroom in kinder through fourth grade that exceeds the 22 student class size limit. Since the last submission in September of 2018, we have 10 new classrooms that are over 22. However, I do want to point out that we have 14 classrooms from the original submission that are now under 22. I have provided to you a copy of all the classrooms that are over 22 that were or currently are and previously were over 22. So if I'd like to call your attention to it, and I don't have it on the screen to protect the names of the teachers. But if you look at it, we have students, teachers' names in bold and italicized. Those are new classrooms. So again, we have 10 new classrooms that are over 22 since September 2018 that were not submitted initially as waivers. However, if you notice, we have 14 classrooms, 14 names that are that have a strike through their name, and these classrooms are no longer under 22 or over 22. So if you look at the comparison report, we are really down in the number of classrooms that are over 22 from 50 to 45, and our percentage went from 13.2% of our classrooms in kinder through fourth to now 11.8% that exceed the 22-to-1. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions for you at this time. This is an ongoing requirement, so any time that we have a classroom that exceeds the 22-to-1 in kinder through fourth, we have to submit a new submission. That's why we will keep bringing it to the board every month and a half or so, every 30 days.
Move for approval?
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir.
Just again, for clarification, there is additional or different classes.
Yes, sir.
But there were other classes that now are below the 22-to-1. So it's
Exactly.
almost parallel to where we were when we originally submitted the class size waiver.
Yes, sir.
Back in early October.
Yes.
And it's my understanding as well that there's no more than, in other words, back up, in most cases, it's 1 or 2 students.
Yes, sir.
There's no more than 5 students over the 22-to-1.
That is correct. If you look at the number in parentheses, that is the actual class enrollment. So in some cases, in most cases, we're over by 1 or 2, 23, 24. There are, I believe, a couple of teachers that may be at 25, or even 26, but for the most part, it's 1 or 2 over. That is correct.
Thank you.
And I have also given you a legend, so you know the type of classrooms. I know that that's also very important to take into consideration. Most of these classrooms are specialized classrooms such as GT, bilingual, dual. So that is a factor as well.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item is 11A3, approval of the 2008-2019 district performance objective goals. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Under the Texas Education Code, districts must set district performance goals and establish strategies for meeting those goals to include special populations for state and federal accountability system. Ms. V will give us a short overview, and we will be requesting action on this item.
Yes, sir, Dr. Gonzalez. So you have a hard copy, plus it's projected and it was uploaded for you, and it's one all by itself.
Okay.
It's a separate one. And so you can see that the districts, domain 1, domain 2A, 2B, domain 3, and the overall was 92.3 with an A. So just like we did with the campus performance objectives, the district is placing a 93 or greater as our goal for the end of the year this year.
Our domain 3, we were at 93% last year, and we're setting a goal for 100. Why? Because of those federal ESSA student groups on the bottom. That sets a very nice margin for us to meet our state accountability plus the federal accountability for us. And domain 1, 2A, 2B, that's 70% of the grade on the state. And if we do like we did last year, we would have a goal to be 93 or greater in domain 2B. If we grew considerably, you hear the campuses talk about they're going to get 100% on 2A because they're very skilled at measuring the tests that count for color growth. And so the reading test, the math test, in high school, the Algebra 1 test, the English 2 test is the test to get that color growth on. And if they do that, that'll cause the district to have not an 84, but if they meet their goal, it would be 100% there.
We have an item on the board, need action.
So move.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item is 11B, discussion of the Texas Association of the School Board localized policy. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 111 consists of legal and local reference policies, and local policies contained in TASB Update 111 reflect changes necessary for consistency with legal policies. These local policies are being presented as a first reading tonight, and administration will present them for a final approval as a second reading at our next board meeting. Mr. Miller will highlight TASB's local policy recommendations. No action will be required this evening.
Thank you, sir. On board policy local BBD local, board members training and orientation, I added a paragraph regarding reporting continuing education credit, and it basically describes reporting requirements for board members continuing education credit. On CAA local, fiscal management goals and objectives, financial ethics, you'll see the current local policy there. The proposed update, any person who suspects fraud or financial impropriety in the district shall report the suspicions immediately to a person with authority to investigate the suspicions, including any supervisor, the superintendent or designee, the board president, or local law enforcement. This revision aligns the district policy with Education Code 37.148, which prohibits a district from adopting a policy that requires an employee to report only to certain persons or peace officers a crime witnessed at the school. CJA local, contracted services criminal history. This is a new proposed local policy. They added the paragraph titled Emergencies to authorize the district employee in charge of a facility to determine whether an employee of a contracting or subcontracting entity who does not have the required criminal history review or who has a disqualifying conviction will be permitted to enter the facility in an emergency. An example would be an emergency situation for services and there's not enough time to obtain the criminal history of a contractor employee. In talking with Mr. Trevino, using a plumber as an example, they won't have time to get the criminal history. They'll run it through the Raptor report, and then they're escorted the whole time they're on the property. Moving on to DEA local, compensation and benefits compensation plan. This is a recommended revision to this local policy to clarify the district's current policy provision on compensation payments to employees during emergency closings. For example, pay during closing. This paragraph has been revised to reflect that the district will pay full-time employees for their regular duty schedule during a closing unless otherwise provided by board action. The text requires the board, following a closure, to adopt a resolution or take other board action to establish the purpose and parameters for such payment. Premium pay during disasters paragraph has been revised to replace text limiting premium pay to a federally declared disaster and instead authorizes premium pay during an emergency closing for a broader set of disasters to include a disaster declared by a federal, state, or local official or the board. Earlier this year, we had some heavy rains and flooding, so we had to come to the board and authorize or request payment for some time there. So that's an example of this one here. DHE local, employee standard of conduct, searches and alcohol/drug testing. TASB recommends revision to clarify that the district may remove from duty and require testing of an employee if there is reasonable suspicion that the employee is under the influence of alcohol or drugs used in violation of district policy. This revision also addresses consequences for an employee's refusal to comply with testing and for violation of the district's drug and alcohol policy. DI local employee welfare. This local policy addresses drug-free awareness programs, and TASB is recommending it for deletion as it is adequately covered through the district's DH legal and local policies. FEA local, attendance, compulsory attendance. So basically, this changes, the district shall excuse a student 17 years of age or older for up to 4 days during a school year for activities related to pursuing enlistment in a branch of the U.S. Armed Forces or Texas National Guard. TASB is recommending a revision to allow for up to 4 days during his or her enrollment in high school. So instead of 4 days per year, 4 days throughout their whole high school career. The H local, employee standards of conduct. This has to do with weapons prohibited, and there's exceptions. Current policy, the weapons prohibited. The district prohibits the use, possession, or display of any firearm, location-restricted knife, club, or prohibited weapon as defined as FNCG on district property at all times. The exception, no violation of this policy occurs when a district employee who holds a Texas handgun license stores a handgun or other firearm in a locked vehicle in a parking lot, parking garage, or other parking area provided by the district, provided a handgun or other firearm is not loaded and not in plain view. While TASB is not recommending policy revision at this time, the interplay of state and federal law permits a district, if they wanted to revise this policy to allow such a weapon to have a loaded firearm under these circumstances. Obviously, the administration is not recommending any changes to this policy at this time.
I'm sorry, what is the "or" part on that last?
Let me see here. Bear with me.
It has an "or" there. Is there another paragraph that's supposed to go, or?
Item three, sir, is the use, possession, or display of an otherwise prohibited weapon takes place as part of the district-approved activity supervised by property.
No, I think what he's referring to is on item number 2, it ends with not loaded and not in plain view or, up here on the screen?
Yes, understand, I'm sorry.
Okay. So
there is a
That's item
number
2,
three?
and there's a third item.
Oh, there is a number 3.
I'm sorry. So that's DH local, and this next one is almost exactly the same, GKA local. It has to do with the same thing as far as a not loaded weapon versus a loaded weapon. So administration is not recommending a change of this policy at this time. And again, this is the first reading for these policies.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay, that's just for information purposes only.
Yes, sir.
Next, right, first reading. Next item is 11B, approval resolution interlocal agreement number 2018-151 between McAllen Independent School District and Educational Service Centers Region 10 for 403B third-party administrator services and 457B retirement plan. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district sponsors a 403B retirement plan for its employees and is proposing the use of Region 10 for the 403B plan administration services. Since Region 10 also provides 457 retirement plan and related services, the district is also proposing to use Region 10 for the 457B plan implementation and administration services, and we are requesting action on this item.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question, real quick. This is the one we were talking about last time, right? Where you mentioned, I'd asked you about the 457 plan. We don't currently offer a 457 plan, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And I was reading through I guess, the MOU or the contract between the parties. And I thought I read in here, do we utilize Region 10 at any point right now?
For the FICA alternative plan, yes, sir.
Okay. And so from what I was reading in the contract, there won't be any fees if we take all 3 plans to them. Is that correct?
That is correct. They're waiving the fees.
Is that fees for the district or for the employees or both? Do you know? Is there a fee for the employees?
If you don't mind, I'm sorry, let me call Mr. Silva up here.
Sure.
Please. Sorry.
Sorry we made you wait.
Mr. Silva, we should have moved you up. I'm sorry.
Actually, there's a representative here from TCG who's administering the program. If you don't mind, I can ask him to
Sure.
step up
Yeah,
to the
that's fine.
podium. His name is Mr. Horta, Steve Horta.
Oh, our apologies.
Sorry about that, sir. We didn't know who you were. We're all trying to bet who you were, and we all lost.
Mr. Horta, yes, from TCG. Good evening.
Welcome.
So the question, yes, so right now, the RAMS program, which is Regional Asset Management Services, the Region 10, TCG's the engine behind the program, no fees on the 403B administration. Now, on the 457, there's no fees to the employer or the district on the 403B. On the 457, it's just assets under management. There's a 65 basis point fee that is collected as the assets grow in the plan. Those are the fees that are collected, which are employee-driven, but they're asset-driven as well. So, which is pretty low. Now, comparable fees within the 457 are usually 2 to 3%. So, very competitive on that.
That's charged to the employee, not the district, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay. And the other concern I had, Region 10, where's Region 10 out of?
It's Dallas,
Dallas.
Fort Worth.
So by doing this, and I know it said in there that they would have somebody for employee concerns and questions and so forth. Do you have somebody here locally that's going to meet with staff if they have questions or
Yeah, so
concerns?
TCG Advisors is the engine behind the Region 10 platform. So we're responsible for education and servicing all the employees under the 457 plan. So currently, we're actually looking for someone who is currently going to be employed here by TCG here in the Rio Grande Valley. Recently, we just added about 8 other districts, and we're looking for someone here in the region to really service. But a lot of the servicing is going to be from Austin in the meantime.
Okay. So you said you added 8 other districts here locally?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. But currently, you don't have anybody here to service the needs of...
Well, our servicing is really online. You know, we have reps all over the state that would be allocated down here in the valley as we grow the business. We have over 400 districts in the state, so we have plenty of resources to reallocate personnel if needed to service our members here in the Rio Grande Valley.
And there was something I read, I guess it was in the contract regarding staff time. That they would allocate staff time, but you're talking about your staff, not our
Yeah,
staff.
my staff, yeah.
Okay.
So my staff will currently be responsible for education and retirement. So we'll work with the district to see how that looks like, but really, that's really a focus of a lot of school districts in the state is educating employees on retirement and servicing them, providing advice on their retirement electives.
And I think that was important. That was a point I discussed with Mr. Miller, you know, that we don't currently have a 457 plan. I think teachers are going to have an awakening when they retire and they see that pay cut. And then with the rising cost of TRS insurance and so forth. So this is another alternative for them to put some money away to help for the retirement, at least the 457 plan. As far as, so the district would just basically be responsible for doing the withholding and forwarding the funds to?
Yeah, so we'll help. We'll take all the responsibility in terms of the plan design. We'll take fiduciary services, meaning that anything that is recommended to the employees, TCG Advisors actually takes on fiduciary responsibility so that doesn't fall in the district. We provide investment consulting, participant advice, and then we actually view the plan, oversight of the plan. So we'll work with staff to see how that looks like in terms of how you want the loans organized and implement that whole process.
And so if this is approved tonight, somebody from your office would send information to all of our employees and then set up meetings with them?
If this is approved tonight, we'll have implementation team here with the district sit down for about 2 hours, and they'll go over a lot of the operational issues in terms of setting up the website, consolidating the 403B, 457, and FICA all in one website so it's easily managed by the administrative staff, and then all the payroll information and whatnot would be discussed and how that's transmitted at that time.
If I may, I'm really excited about this opportunity because we've only got about 320 employees participating in the 403B, hence the whole financial literacy initiative. We need to do more, need to do more. This will provide our employees another retirement savings platform in addition to 403B that they can put money aside.
Right.
And I like the 457 because there's no penalty if they need to withdraw it if they're under 59 and a half.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's some options and some benefits for both of them, but somebody needs to explain that to the employees because You know, and that's why I was concerned, if you don't have anybody down here, you know, how are they gonna get that information? How's it gonna be transmitted to the employees so that they can take advantage of it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Well, once we implement the plan, we're going to see how you want us to educate your employees. I mean, we do seminars. We could do them quarterly, monthly. We have online tools and resources. We have a call center that's open until 7 p.m. every night. And then, of course, we have other retirement plan specialists who will come here as needed until, you know, we find someone here in the valley.
Is this contract a one-year contract, or is it just, how does that work?
Yeah, it's usually a 90-day notification, but it's a 1 year, not with 90-day notification.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have an item for action. Can I get a motion?
That was a motion by already trustee Alicet, and I second.
I'm sorry.
Proceed to vote.
Proceed to vote. Any other discussion? No other questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item is 11C2, approval of bid number 2018-113, district-wide chalkboard removal and wall repair. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This evening, the service will allow campuses to have a quick turnaround time for installation, so students' classrooms' time will not be affected, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Mr. President, I believe that you skipped some items, 11.
Oh, I'm sorry, 11C for the record has been pulled. Sorry about that.
Would that be C1 through 4?
C1, yes, sir.
But not C2, C3, and C4?
Right. So with that being said, we'll go to 11C3. Approval of bid number 2018-119, fencing materials, installation and repair. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This will enable the district to have approved vendors available to keep our buildings safe, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion on the floor and a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item is 11C4, approval revisions of expenditures for previous board agenda of request for proposal number 16-0001. Dr. Gonzalez.
The district approved professional pest control services for the treatment and monitoring of pest infestations for the safety of students and staff, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to kill the bugs. Any discussion?
I do have a question on this.
We got a discussion. Go ahead, Mr.
All right, thank you. You know, we've had concerns regarding especially rodents getting into certain classrooms. Again, when we started providing food for breakfasts in the classrooms, that we've been reports from administration, but also from the campuses, that there's an increase in rodent activity. You see them running down the hall, that sort of thing. So is this going to address that, or are we addressing, insect control, or both with this arrangement?
This is addressing both.
It's addressing both. And so the rodents, how are we going to address? Are we going to have traps on the outside where they consume food, poison food, and they die, or traps, or what's our plan on the outside?
We are already addressing all issues. For the last 3 years, we have, been fine. We go through the Texas Department of Agriculture licensing, through the integrated pest management system that we have in place. This is just to increase the amount. We have instances that are not on a bid that we don't like to, we choose not to bid out those services unless we need them. So in this case here, in working with the purchasing department, we have had instances like a swarm of bees at one of our high schools, or ant, piles in some of the football fields or baseball fields that need some spraying. We don't have that on a bid.
Okay.
That's only done on an as-needed basis for cost savings as well.
So this is not pertaining to what I was
No,
thinking.
we're.
That's already being addressed in a different way.
That's been addressed.
This is for
yes.
a more isolated type of
Yes, sir.
insect infestation.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Trevino, I have a question. Do we have anybody on staff that's licensed to handle chemicals, or is that not?
We have one staff member.
Okay. Just, okay. We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item is we're going to move on to 11D3.
D3, correct.
Approval of the 2018 McAllen ISD tax roll. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The property tax code requires the assessor to enter the amount of tax determined per section 26.09E in the appraisal roll and submit it to the governing body of the district for approval. And the appraisal roll with amounts of tax entered as approved by the governing body constitutes the district's tax roll, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Have you been waiting here for this? Oh, we really apologize. Thank you. But we know you get paid by the hour, so you're going to do well tonight. All those in favor of the
Is there
motion?
any comments he wants to add? Because he's been
Any
waiting.
no, he wants to go home.
All right.
I'm sorry.
We're going to buy you a burger, man. And you already know what kind of burgers.
But just had
All those in
police
favor of the
pharmacy.
motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Next item on the agenda is 11E, Board of Trustees items, approval of the Board of Education meeting minutes. It's going to take me a little bit to read them, but here we go. E1, regular board meeting September 25th, 2018. B, September 25th, 2018 at 6:15. E1C, special board meeting September 26th, 2018. D, special board meeting October 3rd, 2018. E, special board meeting October 9th, 2018. And F, regular board meeting October 9th, 2018. Do I have a motion? To approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. The next item is this, future board meetings. 12A, December 10th, 2018, regular board meeting at 5 p.m. in the boardroom. And the 12B, December 10th, 2018, special board meeting at 6:15 in the boardroom. We go to item 13, closed session. I don't think we need to go into closed session. 14, open session, the Board of Trustees may reconvene. So we go to item 15, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So move. Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Excellent.
motion passes 3-1.
At 9:45.
At 9:45, the meeting is adjourned.
I don't want to go home.
Be safe.